is an epidemic of mass murder being committed by a virtual army of unidentified assassins. It seems to be a sudden, general explosion of mass homicide. Consistent reports from witnesses to the effect that people who acted as though they were in a kind of trance were killing and eating their victims prompted authorities to examine the bodies of some of the victims. Medical authorities in Cumberland have concluded that in all cases, the killers are eating the flesh of the people they murdered.
Incredible as they seem, are not the results of mass hysteria. First eyewitness accounts of this grisly development came from people who were understandably frightened and almost incoherent. Officials and newsmen first discounted those eyewitness descriptions as being beyond belief. However, reports persisted. Medical examinations of some of the victims bore out the fact that they had been partially devoured. I think we have some late word just arriving, and I'll interrupt to bring this to you. This is the latest disclosure in a report from National Civil Defense Headquarters in Washington. It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. A widespread investigation of reports from funeral homes, morgues, and hospitals has concluded that the unburied dead are coming back to life and seeking human victims. It's hard for us here to believe what we're reporting to you, but it does seem to be a fact. When this emergency first began, radio and television was advising people to stay inside, behind locked doors for safety. Well, that situation has now changed. We're able to report a definite course of action. Civil defense machinery has been organized to provide rescue stations with food, shelter, medical treatment, and protection by armed National Guardsmen. Stay tuned to the broadcasting stations in your local area for this list of rescue stations. This list will be repeated throughout our news coverage. Look for the name of the rescue station nearest you and make your way to that location as soon as possible.
No longer seek occupancy in private residences, no matter how safe or well protected they may be.
They use maybe 5% of the food available in the human body.
The kind of thing.
With that small amount, the body is usually intact enough to be mobile when it revives.
What are you saying? I mean, you science.
Dummies!
You're suggesting...
Dummies! Dummies!
Excuse me. Listen, quiet.
One wonders whether it's worth saving. Why don't we drop bombs in all the big cities?
You're probably serious.
I'm deadly serious. What are the choices? They won't run out of food, young lady. That's the problem, you see. And they won't run out of food while we're still alive.
We can lift you out to safety. Please answer my call if you can hear me.
We've got to remain logical. We've got to. There's no choice. It has to be. It's that or the end.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Great times, great beer. They go together. And there's no better beer for great times than Iron City. Pour a glass or two of Iron City. Watch it come alive with millions of tiny bouncing bubbles that give you a foaming thick head that holds and holds and holds. And how about that Iron City flavor? Rich, robust, delicious. It's the result of over a century of brewing experience. So get with Iron City when you want to make your great times just a little better. You're ahead with Iron City, the beer drinker's beer.
Hey, it's Greg Nicotero. You are, or if you're not, should be watching Alpha Romero on YouTube.
Well, thank you, Greg. And you are watching Alpha Romero on YouTube. What's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday night to you all. We are on the official countdown, the road to Living Dead weekend here in just a few weeks. And it's going to be my busy season. Got a lot coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We'll go over that. I'll let you know what's in store. A lot of live streams, some watch-alongs to get us prepared and ready for the event ahead. Some more news has dropped the past week or so since we were last on here. So I figured tonight we'll come on here, open, the floor is open to any and all to join us. Ask me anything, of course, and I will give you the 100% unadulterated, unfiltered truth, as I always do. Did I say unadulterated? I think that's the right word, unadulterated. Ask me anything, open floor, open topic. Whatever you guys want to talk about tonight, we will discuss. A little bit of news, and I got a big stack of shit here that I picked up over the last couple of weeks. Just some recent pickups, and a shout out to my boy Dirk, who may not be a Dawn of the Dead fan, but is a cool motherfucker. We'll take a look at some of that and get you guys' thoughts, and some of the stuff I've never seen before. Actually, quite a bit of it is some films and some releases that I've never seen, never checked out before. So, looking forward to digging into that. Let me see here. I'm missing some lighting here. I forgot to turn on my blue lights back here. My blue lights make me look professional. So, 1 second, I'm going to go turn on my blue lights. Blue? Blue? Blue as we get? All right, that's better. Who we got in the chat? Let me see. Trying some new, I don't think this is making that big of a fucking difference, but oh well. So let's check out the chat, see who all's in here tonight on this Sunday night. Got My Lunatic 99 dropping a message here earlier today. Hope she's watching. How you doing tonight? Hope you're doing well. We got the one and only Synth Addicts in the house, who was just recently scouting a mall with some half-headed dummies. Mannequins, I guess is the technical term for it. Good to see you, Synth. Glad you're able to make it. Night 90, Robert Harbitz. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Hello, all. Hope you're having a good night. Hope you are as well, sir. Bonnie Bailey, of course. What's going on, Bonnie? How are you? Hope you're doing well. The man himself, Mr. Matt Landrum's in the house. What's going on, Matt? See, we got Lugan Bull, I believe that's how it's pronounced. Lugan Bull Studios. Hello, he says. Hello. Says I'm at work. That's good, good. Making a living, making that paycheck, no big deal. Says I'm a super fan. Well, you're in the right place. If you're a super fan of Romero, zombies, whatever, horror, we'll talk about it all. Like I said, I got a big stack of shit here that we're going to talk about, and quite a bit that I haven't seen. So want to get you guys' opinions and thoughts on some of this to see if I picked up anything good. Goblin music is God. Yeah, I agree. I may have some goblin to talk about here tonight, here in a little bit. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Let's see. We got Brandon Salisbury's in the house. What's going on, Brandon? Says good evening. Counting down to LDW. Can't wait to see everyone again. Catch up with old friends and meet new ones face to face. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I don't think like I said, I don't think we've ever really had a full-on face-to-face conversation before. So I'm looking forward to meeting you and hanging out, maybe having a few Iron Cities, which tonight's broadcast is sponsored by Iron City Beer, not officially but unofficially. Good to see Brandon. We got Paul's in the house. Paul Farber says 45 years ago today, Mount St. Helens erupted. So there you go. So to commemorate the occasion, we're going live tonight. And like I said, open topic. We can talk about whatever. If you want to talk about Mount St. Helens, we can do that. Good to see you, Paul. Looking forward to seeing you again here soon, Paul. Robert says, hoping to be there. Hope you can make it too, man. I'd love to meet you. I don't know. I think you're not too far. You're not like on the other side of the country or anything. So if you can make it, man, this is definitely the one. It's going to be. I think I was telling Will this earlier. I think this year's Living Dead weekend is going to be the biggest Living Dead weekend possibly to date. I think because with all the the news surrounding the mall and the uncertainty of the event going forward, I think a lot of people are really making the effort to be there this year, and I think it's going to be packed because I mean pretty much every mall tour has sold out to this point. The screening on Friday, the Night of the Living Dead screening, is almost sold out. Last I heard, they kind of updated that the other day. That one's close to selling out, and then the new event that they announced, the day start your day with Day of the Dead, the Day of the Dead brunch and screening on Sunday morning. Looks like tickets are selling pretty good for that too. So I think it's gonna be a hell of a crowd. There's gonna be a lot of people there. So if you can make it, this is the year to make it. So this is what is this? I guess you're talking about the intro video. I think is when that comment came up. It's just a little thing I made some couple months back. Just kind of a little intro video to get give everyone a chance to make it in and. But I just thought it was cool, just kind of the timeline from night through dawn through day, using like kind of the newscasts and stuff like that to kind of see the slow disintegration of society. I think that's going to be that's a fun topic to always talk about. Lucable says, are they going to play the film? In reference to, are they going to play the film? In reference to what? And because I don't remember when this comment came, but in terms of the watch-alongs, watch-alongs, when I do watch-alongs on this channel, I don't play the film because I would get kicked off YouTube almost immediately. If you're talking about a Living Dead weekend, they are playing, so they're doing Night of the Living Dead on Friday night. They're doing a Friday night screening of Night of the Living Dead, and then a special bonus screening at the after party afterwards in the mall, and they haven't announced what that is yet, so I'm kind of curious. I was thinking it might be Day of the Dead, but the fact that they're doing an actual screening of Day of the Dead Sunday morning for like the Sunday morning brunch makes me think it's going to be something else. So it could be, who knows what, maybe a screening of Land of the Dead, an unofficial screening of Land of the Dead. So that I'm curious about that. I'm curious to see what they do. Let's go, Brandon. Yeah. Let's go, Brandon. Chintz, what's going on, man? Chintz 2D back in the house. What's going on? Good to see you. Since his Iron City, cold gold, yes sir. I'm looking forward because I'm all out. Like I've depleted my supply of Iron City that I picked up last time I was in Pittsburgh. I made it last as long as I could. Like I said, I usually only drink them when I do live streams. But tonight I'm back to, which is not, this isn't Guinness. It's something fairly similar, which I've never tried before. But they're pretty good. Not as good as Guinness, but pretty much the same thing. Murphy's Imported Stout. Trying something different, see what it's like. Like I said, it's pretty good. Not quite my Guinness though, I'll say that. But nothing beats that cold gold with that head. That what's the thing? The head that holds or whatever. It's like, is that still a thing? Like people buy beer that have the thick head that just hold, like, cause in my world, like you want as little of a head as possible. When that's a hell of a sound clip that somebody can take. You want as little of a head as possible. Take that how you will. Yeah, I fully agree, Paul. June 5th can't get here soon enough. Yes, sir. Fully agree. But like I said, I got a whole schedule of live streams and videos and stuff prepared to leading up to, which I guess we can go ahead and talk about. Just kind of, I'll give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek at the upcoming schedule of live streams and shows that I got planned, which a lot of it involves you guys. So if you guys want to come on and get hype for the event, if you're going to Living Dead weekend, if you're still on the fence, now's the time. So right now, tentative schedule, who knows? The shit changes. But coming up this Wednesday, May 21st, I'm doing a Wednesday night watch-along, another Wednesday night watch-along, which I just did a watch-along here last Wednesday over on the Revival House podcast channel on YouTube. We watched Martin, and I had a just a fantastic time with those guys. Those guys are a lot of fun. Looking to get them on the channel soon. Really cool. If you haven't checked them out, check it out. Revival House on YouTube. Do a lot of cool videos. Very cool guys. And it was fun watching Martin with those guys. And we ended up really just kind of starting to talk about Martin, and then it kind of veered off into just conversation. But, it was just kind of a cool excuse to meet and kind of chat with those guys for the first time. But coming up this Wednesday, May 21st, Wednesday night watch along, Land of the Dead. I'm going to do a Land of the Dead watch along. And if anybody wants to come and watch Land of the Dead with me, by all means, because when I do watch alongs, I kind of prefer to do them with someone. Like I did the Majorettes with Synth a couple weeks back, and that was a lot of fun. Like, it's just watching a movie that I had never seen before. Of course, directed by Bill Heinzman, written by John Russo. Not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination. So it could be torture if I'm just sitting here watching it by myself, trying to think of like things to talk about this movie. But with Synth there, it was a lot of fun. So if anybody wants to join me this Wednesday for Land of the Dead watch along, which I haven't really talked about Land of the Dead a whole lot. And, of course, this is the 20th anniversary of Land of the Dead. There's going to be a little bit of a Land of the Dead reunion this year at Living Dead Weekend. So I figure now's the time to revisit and give my thoughts. So this Wednesday, Land of the Dead watch along. Then May 24th, next Saturday. And this is for anybody that wants to join along. This is the third Romero Fan Roundtable, The Road to Living Dead Weekend. So if anybody wants to hop on, and I'll reach out to some of you guys to see if you guys want to join me on that Saturday night and kind of talk about what your plans are, what you're looking forward to, what your what your thoughts on this year's event. We'll go over the whole lineup and everything. So that's next Saturday, Living Dead Weekend, Road to Living Dead Weekend, Romero Fan Roundtable number 3. Then May 31st. I'm gonna need some more volunteers for this one. If anybody's interested. Again, getting hyped for the event we're going to do May 31st. That's next Saturday, or the Saturday following next Saturday. Another live fan commentary. We just did one a couple months back for Dawn of the Dead, which was a fucking blast. But this one, since we got, it's the anniversary of Day of the Dead, live fan commentary of Day of the Dead. So anybody wants to come and watch and hang out and watch Day of the Dead with us, feel free, reach out, let me know. Any and all are welcome. And then the very next day, June the 1st, and this is the last one before the event, June the 1st, and this is going to be really cool. Looking forward to this one. We did it last year with Larry, the official Living Dead Weekend preview show with Lawrence DeVincent. And we did 4 hours last year hyping up the show, and it was a blast. Anytime you get Larry on here and start talking with Larry about Romero and all that, I mean, it flies by. So doing it again, Living Dead Weekend preview show, June the 1st. That's a Sunday, and I think it's gonna be a different time because we're gonna have Larry on, Lawrence DeVincent's gonna be on, as well as Daz Sargent, all the way from the UK. Two guys that are instrumental in making Living Dead Weekend happen. So looking forward to getting those guys on, and maybe Daz can give us his side of the story on that whole, Night 90 cemetery debacle that Larry told us about last year. So that's what's coming up, leading up to the event, and then of course the weekend of the event. We're gonna have all kinds of shit going on. So looking forward to that. Let's see. Back to the comments here. Let's see. Brandon saying I'll be getting my Iron City fix that weekend. I will be as well, and I will probably be bringing a couple of cases home. So definitely be doing that. Thanks, sir. Thank you. Liking the stash. The ladies like it too, let me tell you. That's right. Matt says, Brandon B2 taking home as many cases as I can fit in the back with the dogs. That's my plan. Whatever space I got left for, with luggage and stuff, because me and Will are going to be riding up together, so we're sharing a car, and so I'm going to try to cram as much as I can. Hey, what's up, John? John Vulo is in the house. What's going on, John? Looking forward to seeing you here in a couple of weeks. Man's always hard at work, discovering new members of the Dead. That it's crazy. Like all these years, like there's so many people that have loved Night of the Living Dead and loved Romero's films and have searched, heaven and earth looking for these people. And then here comes John. And he's just like, oh, I'm finding everybody. And it's like, oh shit, like everybody's being discovered. So looking forward to seeing you, man. Brandon says, I really need to bring a case back with me. I'll have to bring a cooler to keep it cool for the drive back. There's a plan. There's a plan, definitely. What's up, Jeff? Down is up. Says, hey, Michael. And what's up to all my fellow zombies? The Iron City Beer commercial. Nice touch. Absolutely. And that commercial, believe it or not, is a latent image directed by George Romero back when they were doing the Iron City commercials. I always liked that commercial. They used to do that. Duke Beer. I think they did. They did quite a few local beer commercials, but you can't beat that Iron City one. Lugan Bull's a better zombie weapon long term, bow or samurai sword? That's a good question. The samurai sword. Are y'all ready to nerd out? The samurai sword will dull over time. You have to keep that sharp. And the more you use it, the less effective it is. Whereas the bow, you kind of have to have a skill to really effectively use a crossbow or a bow and arrow or something like that. So I mean, the samurai sword's probably, like, if you're not familiar with a bow, I would go with the samurai sword. But really, it's probably the best weapon to use is, I think Ben had it figured out, Night of the Living Dead, the tire iron. Strong, dependable, never dull out. You can stab, it's a blunt object. I think that's the absolute the best case scenario there. You could say a hammer, but I think after a while the wood on the hammer might break. So I think tire iron's probably the way to go. I'd follow in the footsteps of Ben, in my opinion. Good question though. Good question. See, like, those are the fun questions. Kind of get you thinking. It's like, although a bow would keep them at bay probably longer if you have the skill, but and there's always the chance that you might hack your own leg off or something with a samurai sword, but depends on what you're better at, I guess. Swords are harder to fix. That's right. Yeah, that's true too. Sin says, need the blue lights, just like Kmart blue light special. Absolutely. Yeah, you got to have the blue light special going on back here. See, it just makes it illuminates all my shit back here. It makes it look a little cooler. You got got the TV, it just looks better. It doesn't look like I'm broadcasting live from a dark bunker somewhere. Hey, what's going on, Michael Rajpal? Michael Rajpal's in the house. Says, hey everyone, good to see you, sir. Brandon says, gonna need one of those bear hugs when I see you. Closest I can get to experience is George's bear hugs. I'm a hugger. I'm a hugger, guys. So anybody, when you meet me, handshake and I'll pull you in. I'll give you a pat on the back. So I'm all for a big bear hug. Lugan Bull says, I want shark chain armor for the apocalypse. Yeah, I mean, you might want to start working on that. It's getting rough out there. Stukas, what's going on, man? Stukas Dive says, hey, dudes. What's going on, Stukas? There's the man himself just talking about. Larry's in the house. WGON TV says, stop your grinning and drop your linen. I'm back. Well, what's going on, man? Looking forward to catching up with you. And looking forward, man, we're catching up quite a bit, not only at the event, but looking forward to having you on the show beforehand. And it's going to be fun getting you and Daz on the same show. And like I said, we need to find out the truth behind that, the Night 90 cemetery debacle. Curious to see what Daz's side of the story is on that. Rob says, I'm in Michigan, about a 5.5 hour drive. I think that's not bad at all, man. Like I said, me and Will are coming up. He's in Kentucky. He's gonna pick me up on the way in Indiana, and it's about a 7.5 hour drive for us. And I make it all the time. So I mean, hey, if you can afford it, you can do it, man. Don't miss it. Don't miss it this year, like, because this could be it. Not even just for like the event, just for like your opportunity to see them all and experience them all, and be in cinema history, horror cinema history. It's literally like horrors. I mean, just to steal a term from Sean Clark, horror's hallowed ground is the Monroeville Mall. So yeah, I hope you can make it, man. I hope you can. Lugan says you have a great vibe to pregame. Yeah, I like it. It gets me hype. Robert says, the thing is, if everything's sold out, what will I be able to do once I get there? Well, I mean, you got the weekend passes and stuff, I think, are still available. And of course, the photo ops and stuff just went up. There's a ton of different photo ops that are available, some really cool ones. The one that really stands out, I think, is really cool, and probably the one and only time you're going to see this and have the opportunity to do this is you're going to have, there's a photo op with all 4 of the main cover zombies. You got Kyra Schoen, of course, Karen Cooper from Night, Paul Musser, Airport Zombie from Dawn, Howard Sherman, Bub from Day, and Eugene Clark, my boy Eugene Clark from Land of the Dead, Big Daddy himself. So to get a photo with all four of them together at once, I don't see that ever happening again. So this is probably the one only time to do that. And there's plenty of other awesome photo ops throughout the weekend. And like I said, the day brunch, Sunday morning, there's still tickets available for that. And I think last I heard there were still tickets available for the night screening on Friday. So still available. The mall tour, I think there maybe they added another tour on Saturday. You'd have to ask Larry about this, but I know they added another tour on Saturday, and that was close to selling out last I heard. So I highly recommend doing that if you can get a spot. But like I said, it tickets are flying. So oh yeah, Paul will dap you up, man. He that's for sure. And Paul's probably gonna, like I said, it's gonna be like you said. It's gonna be like the only way you're gonna get that big bear hug from George, and Paul's got the George look going on. He's got the whole look down. So yeah, you're right. Definitely right about that. Sorry, I didn't know what was going on here tonight. Hey, no worries, man. I do this like we do live streams we try to do them once every weekend. Like I said, there's a bunch coming up here, Living Dead weekend, but we get on different topics. We talk dawn, day, night, anything Romero. Sometimes we branch out into the world of John Russo and Bill Heinzman and Savini, Nicotero, everything in that world, and just horror in general. Like I said, I got a big stack of shit here we're gonna talk about and get you guys' opinion on stuff that I've picked up. Some of it not even horror, just films in general. I just like waxing poetic about film. Excuse me. Brennan says I don't actually do anything while I'm there all weekend. Just chat with fellow fans and friends. You need a table, Brandon, man. You're the fucking director of George A. Romero's Resident Evil. I think probably if we had physical copies of that, you'd probably make a killing. Because I mean, I would love to buy one and have you sign it for sure. Like when I finally get my hands on one. But yeah, you're just kind of like Tommy Lafitte from Dawn. He just likes to show up every now and then, just kind of hang out. Doesn't want a table or anything. He's just there for for the camaraderie, I guess. Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Smash that like button for Michael. Yes, guys, if you're watching, smash the like. Give me all them thumbs up. Thumb it up. Right up the butt. Thumb it up. And if you're watching for the first time and you're not a subscriber, if you just happen to stumble upon this, by happenstance, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, I do live streams once a week, every weekend. Typically, I might miss one every now and then for certain reasons, but I always try to get on here. Like tonight, I didn't really have anything to talk about, but I like getting on here and chatting with you guys, and anything you guys want to talk about. Like I said, ask me anything. We could talk about, like last week, we spent the first hour and a half just talking about music and smoking and just random shit, whatever whatever pops up. It's just a fun. It's a nice little cap to the weekend. I like doing them on Sundays. It's a nice little cap to the weekend to kind of transition into the work week. Hey, what's going on, Nathan B? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. You had a good weekend. Since says, yeah, we had fun with that crappy Russo movie. Yeah, I mean that's the thing with Russo's movies, man. They're always fun, at least, and like we said, you can always kind of tell when it's when it's a Russo film. They all kind of have that same vibe to them, Chen says, I haven't seen Land of the Dead in a while. Are you going to stream it on YouTube? No, I can't. They won't let me do that. Universal will crack down on that pretty fast. But I think pretty much it's pretty available out there, whether if you don't have it on DVD or Blu-ray, which they just released the new 4K of it. It's out there. It's on a lot of streaming. I think I saw it on Shudder here recently. So it's available. But I can't put it up on YouTube or I will be in even more trouble. Nathan says, I'll be there to watch along. Look forward to it. Awesome. Look forward to that. Let's see, Matt says, I'll hop on the round table with you and the day commentary. Hey, always, man. Anytime you want to hop on. You want to hop on weekly, you can hop on. I always love having you on. And I told you, Matt, and Jace has told you this too. Like, dude, if you start your channel. get it out there, man. You're really good. You're articulate. You have great perspective on film. You're knowledgeable. Yeah, man, get at it. If it's something you want to do, it's like I'll tell anybody watching this, if you want to start a YouTube channel and just kind of do what because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like I just started. I was just like, hey, I like watching shit on YouTube. Maybe I can try that. See what's see what I can do. I like talking Romero, so I'm just gonna do a YouTube channel on Romero. I like all movies, but Romero's like the thing that I can just talk about constantly all the time. And I just hopped on, started talking about it, and turns out other people like talking Romero too. And so you never know. It's just fun. It's a creative outlet. It's definitely a creative outlet for me, because if I don't have that, like, I just kind of go crazy. I'm just like, oh, I'm not being productive. I'm not doing anything in my off time. Mess has got to make up for losing power during our Dawn watch along. Yeah. I definitely want you on that day commentary, because you're one of the big day fans that I know. But yeah, definitely both of them. You're more than welcome, my man. Absolutely. Larry says, yes, sir. Looking forward to it. Sunday, June 1st. And like I said, it'll probably be a weird start time. It'll probably be a little earlier than we're used to. Where, I usually come on a little later at night, but we'll probably do something a little earlier, because Daz is, I think, like 5 hours ahead of us or something like that. So I don't want him like having to hop on, being like, hey, can you come on at 2 a.m. or whatever. So it'll probably be kind of an late afternoon start time. I'll get with you guys, and we'll figure a start time on that to nail it down. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that. It's gonna be great having Daz on. Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to Daz. I've seen him before on some of the streams on the shows that the Nightcast podcast has done, and so yeah, I'm familiar with Daz for sure. I think we've had like a passing word, kind of like with Brandon at Living Dead Weekend. You just kind of you're all there for the same reason, and you all kind of speak the same language. So, but I've never actually had a chance to really have a conversation with Daz before. So I'm really looking forward to it. Jeff says it was a lot of fun watching that with you guys. Then it was on my own. I'm in to join for the day watch along. I just get paid to fly the whirly bird. Absolutely, man. Let me know. Actually, I think we're friends on Facebook. I think so. I'll definitely I'll shoot you a message. Shoot me a message, and I'll send you the link, and we'll set it up. You're definitely more than welcome, my man. Since says sure thing. I'm a stream whore. Happy to join the Superfan show again and the day commentary stream. All right. See, all right, we're booking it already. Live here on the show. We're booking it up. So, yes, and again, Sant, you're more than welcome anytime. Like I said, you anytime you want to come on, just let me know. If you have an idea or for a stream or something, absolutely. Okay, back to the sword versus the bow. Sword would go dull after time. That's right. I'm telling you, man, just a good old-fashioned tire iron, just or a crowbar or something like that, Can't go wrong with that. Can't go wrong with it. Now is the time. Now is the time. Anybody know what that's in reference to? Anybody know what that's in reference to? You're right, Paul. You're absolutely right about that. But there's a Dawn connection to that, a Dawn of the Dead connection to that. Anybody tell me what that is? I'll give you something for free. I don't know. I don't have much. Nathan says gonna need a melee and a ranged weapon for different situations. Yeah. That's ideal. But I think if you're just kind of grabbing shit from around the house that you have handy, I mean, unless you have a cabinet full of guns or something like that, I'm telling you, just have a tire iron ready. Even a baseball bat. Over time, a baseball bat will break. A wooden bat will break. An aluminum bat will bend. So the only thing I get a good fucking pry bar. That's all you need. That's right. There you go. Chintz knows. Tire iron, a crowbar. There you go. My says impractical zombie weapons in a zombie apocalypse would be throwing knives. Yeah, that probably wouldn't be, or ninja stars or something like that. Or hell, like in Shaun of the Dead, just the fucking records, the vinyl records. Which, speaking of, I have a couple of those to show you tonight, which we'll get to here in just a second. I'm gonna try to catch up on you guys' comments, because if I get too far behind, there's comments that I'm just like, what the fuck is that in reference to? And it all just kind of gets confusing. Since the samurai sword also needs the proper technique work, is that? Yep. Like I said, unless you are prepared to lose a limb by accident, machete is great, plentiful, and easy to sharpen. Blades had it right for the creeps. Yeah, I mean machete's a good alternative to a tire iron. They're definitely easier to sharpen. But again, if you're in a pinch, you know, can't beat a tire iron. Ben figured it out. What's up, man? Jason Finch is in the house. Good to see you, Jason. Fantastic show, Alpha Romero. Well, thank you very much, sir. Glad to see you. Hope you're doing well. Glad you're able to stop in. Brian Stahl is in the house. What's going on, Brian? Sounds like these fellows got a little iron in them. That's right. I wish I could have a little iron in me, but it's Murphy's imported stout tonight. So, speaking of, I'll take a little sip of Wet the Whistle. Larry says, Robert, there are literally 40 celebrities to talk to and meet. There are panel discussions with the celebrities talking about their films. There are dozens and dozens of vendors there. Lots. Yeah, the vendors, like I said, most of the time when I go to a convention now, it's like, the vendors are kind of what I go for. So yeah, you're gonna have vendors. I mean, we can look at the celebrity list. They keep adding to it. Over the past, couple of weeks, a lot of Dawn guests have been announced over the past couple of weeks as well. So yeah, there's plenty to do, Robert. You won't get bored, I promise. It says, will the photo ops sell out? I don't know. Possibly, just for time's sake. But I don't know. That's a good question. Oh, actually, here you go. Larry's got the answers. That's why we're going to have him on, guys. Photo ops do not sell out. There you go. Will not sell out. Good to know. Blake, what's going on? Blake Allen says, hello, glad to make another live stream. Glad you made another live stream, my man. Always good to see you in here. Jason says, George A. Romero is awesome, amazing, fantastic, and appreciated. Yeah, I agree with all those. Although definitely appreciated by those who love George, but I think I think just in the grand scheme of Hollywood and film in general, I definitely think he's underappreciated in terms of what he meant, not just for horror movies, the Godfather, the Modern Zombie, and Night of the Living Dead and all that, but just for independent cinema in general. I think but I think if people that are in the film industry and are in indie film, they all know. They know George was one of the pioneers of that. The idea of like, hey, let's get a small crew together and just make a movie where we're at. We don't got to go to Hollywood or anywhere. We're here in Pittsburgh. We're already making commercials. Why not make a feature? And you look at guys like Kevin Smith, Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, a lot of those guys in the 90s that the boom of indie cinema, Richard Linklater in Austin, they just said, hey, we don't have to go to Hollywood to do this shit. Like, we can make a movie right here where we're at, whether it's New Jersey or Austin, which Tarantino, I think, was in Hollywood, but I think that's where he was, pretty much raised. But you get what I'm saying. But yeah, I fully agree with all those. Jason likes Tom Savini. We all like Tom. We all appreciate Tom. We did have a big, long conversation the other night about Savini, because I was asked again, it's like, oh, have you met Tom Savini, when I was on the Revival House podcast. We were talking about Martin. And of course, they had Savini stories, and I had to share my Savini stories. Savini's an interesting guy to meet. I have heard some people have had good experiences with him, but Savini can be a little off-putting. We'll just say that. But I mean, I think I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Like, Tom Savini's one of those guys that, like, if aliens landed on Earth and was just like, show me like your cream of the crop, most interesting people, like Savini would be one. Just a guy that's just like the way his brain works and all that he's done, and I just think he's a special, unique human being, is Tom Savini. Larry says there are hundreds of fans that you can meet and talk to. There is so much to do at a convention, especially this convention. Yeah, because I mean, like I said, we all speak the same language at this convention. Everybody's there for like a common interest in a common thing. It's like last year, while the VIP event, me and Will and Synth didn't have tickets to the VIP event last year, so we literally just stood out. We just had a little party out in a parking lot where we just stood out there and just talked, and people would come up and walk away, and just like random people would just come up, and you can do that at this. It's because everybody's there just like, oh wow, I'm at the mall, and holy shit, there's all these people that I grew up watching and idolizing, and yeah, it's a can't miss good time. And that's why the first time I went in 2021, I was like, geez, why did this take so long for me to get here? And then it's why I've gone back every year since. It's just nothing else like it. Chin says only the Friday Mall tour sold out. Saturday and Sunday are still available. Okay, maybe they opened up some more tickets to that. But I know they added another tour. They were only going to do 3, one a day, and then they added another tour on Saturday because, from what I heard, the Saturday tour had sold out. Sunday, I'm not sure, but I feel like I remember hearing that sold out as well. But either way, I would check out livingdeadweekend.com and get your tickets as soon as you can, for sure. Nathan says we especially love Martin, right, guys? Yeah, I mean, I'm still sitting here watching because I have the screen set up here from the watch along the other night, and I'm still just watching the menu screen from Martin. It's just been on ever since on this screen. It's still playing, so, and I love Martin. That's like I said, probably my second favorite, not just Romero film, but just second favorite film ever. I can't get enough of it because it's one of those movies that every time I watch it, I find something else brilliant about it. I'm just like, oh wow, and it was fun watching it with those guys over at the Revival House, and Robert especially, which Robert's not a fan of Martin, but Robert would ask questions and I would be kind of like, okay, that's a really good question. I'd have to think of it for a second and be like, okay, yeah, so and then I'd have to kind of explain it a little bit, but it's one of those films also that's you can't really explain in black and white terms. There's a lot of interpretation to it, and there's just a lot going on with it, Yes, we all do, Jason. We all love the zombie movies. Some more than others. And there's that's the thing about zombie movies too. There's tons of different flavors of zombie movies. The Italian zombie films are completely different than the American zombie films. You get your fast zombie films, your infected people films, or whatever. But to me, like a zombie movie, it has very little to do with the actual monster. Whether it's slow, fast, hop, skip, jump, whatever they do, I really don't care. It's about the environment, the world in upheaval around it. That makes something a zombie film to me. That's what I'm more interested in, as opposed to just the monster aspect of it, I guess. But let's see. Larry says Nathan it's great. It really is. Not just saying that because I'm part of the event. Yeah, I mean, if you're a Romero fan, I mean, it's it's the place to be. And like I said, I can't really think of too many other cons or events or shows or anything that's quite like it, where it's literally the birth of one director, one series of films. It's like everybody loves John Carpenter and there's so many great horror filmmakers throughout history, but I've never heard of just like a John Carpenter specific event or a Wes Craven specific event. Like, us Romero fans are just a different breed. We're just a different, as George said, we're the real trolls. And if you're watching this tonight and you guys are kind of digging what the hell I'm talking about and what this channel is all about, then y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Matt. I'd love to get a poster of the Resident Evil Doc and Brandon sign. That's a good idea too, because I've seen some posters available on eBay. I don't know if they're officially licensed or anything like that, but that's a good idea too, Matt. Blake says night was day 1. Dawn was apparently 3 weeks later. How long was day? I've always assumed it was at least a year. I think day, my theory is 3 years after Dawn. But I'm trying to think, because there's a specific reason why I think that way, but I can't remember what the hell it was. Trust me, I've sat and thought about this before. And I want to say day is 3 years after the initial outbreak. Because, night would be, of course, day 1. Dawn's 3 weeks. They say it in the film. It's been 3 weeks. What does it take? What does it take to make people see? And for some reason, I think day... It made sense to me that day was 3 years after the initial outbreak. I'm trying to think because there was something I pinpointed one time when I was watching Day. I was like, I can't think what the hell it is now. Maybe it'll pop. Maybe it'll come to me at some point tonight. Jason, excellent. You're the man. Chin says, I think Day was several years after Dawn. Yeah, like I said, I think 3 makes sense to me. Matt says, we've probably talked about it before, but watching the Resident Evil doc was an emotional experience. What a love letter to George. Yeah, that's my thoughts on it, for sure. Especially that last, like it was interesting, because I knew, of course, I know more about George than I do the games, Resident Evil. So it was interesting hearing about the history of the games and how they were developed and how they, and it was interesting how, turning those into a film and stuff like that and what all that whole process. So that was interesting, but I will say the thing that put that documentary over to me was that last 15 minutes or so, because it was really just kind of like, really, tugging at the heartstrings, talking about, George's passing and hearing stories from guys like Matt Blasey and George Dimick and, Felcher, and, that was really, really emotional to watch. And if anybody's watched this, hasn't seen it yet, it's available on Amazon. It's George A. Romero's Resident Evil. Really good documentary. So check it out if you haven't yet. High recommendation from me. Paul says, Matt, you've not given me the idea to bring another item to get signed. How many items are you bringing, Paul? Paul, so if you guys haven't checked it out, about a year ago, after last year's Living Dead weekend, I had Paul on for Collecting the Dead episode, which I think was the first one that I did, because Paul's collection is it's so interesting to me because it's so different than everybody else's collection. Like, my stuff is just like shit most people have, Paul is like, I'm going to pinpoint something specific from Dawn of the Dead, like just an item that's in Dawn of the Dead, and I'm going to track that down. Like one that he just recently found was the big bruiser battery that's on the alarm. Found one of those, by God. I love shit like that. Like, that's the stuff I wish I could get into, but I wouldn't even know. Like, I'm not knowledgeable enough on how to track that shit down. So yeah, if you guys, if you're watching this, if you're new to the channel, go back. Like I said, it's about a year ago. It was a Collecting the Dead episode I did with Paul Farver. Really fun, and so he showed some really cool shit in his collection. So yeah, I'm curious what your idea for another item to get signed is. Interesting. Chintz says, I watched Martin the other day here on YouTube. It was a different kind of Romero film. It's definitely a different type of Romero film. It's I always kind of say it's what we call elevated horror now, which kind of, some people kind of think of that as a bad term, elevated horror. But it was kind of like an early rendition of elevated horror, like an A24 film or something. Like, it's so ambiguous. It doesn't really give you any answers. It just kind of gives you, this is what it is. Make of it what you will. What do you think? And that's kind of what George is going for. It's like he never wanted to give like just a definitive, like, okay, this is what's going on. This kid's really a vampire, or this kid's not really a vampire. He had his own thoughts and theories on it, and you can say like, okay, well then that's what the movie is about. But you can definitely draw your own conclusions to a lot of it. And in terms of the editing, like, it's some of George's best editing. It's George the editor at work, especially the sequence in the the Levitsky house, which is what I call it. It's where they're chasing Al Levitsky and God, I can never remember. It's Sarah Venable. I always get the three female leads all mixed up. Sarah Venable. He's chasing them around the house. That's one of the best sequences in any Romero film, in my opinion. I just think that's brilliant. That's one of those scenes that, like, anytime it's on, like a lot of times I'll watch Martin in the background while I'm doing something else, just because I've seen it so many times, and it's just kind of like comfort noise. But when that scene comes on, I put down everything and I watch, and I'm just like, this is brilliant shit. Like, the way that George, just the way that it's like choreographed, like it could have been so simple, it could have been such a short scene, but George kind of draws it out and gives it a lot of twists and turns. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Martin, if you guys can't tell. Since this, what happened to Royal House Martin stream video is marked private now, Mr. Live. So they explained it to me. They do it kind of differently. They'll do something live, and then they take it and edit it and release an actual video of it with like different clips and stuff at a later date. So I think the actual live stream is unavailable. It may be available because I think if you're a member of their channel or something like that. But it will be. I think it is going to be re-released in like a video form with clips and stuff like that. Just from what they were, trying to explain to me. Which I, you guys know me. Like I'm just kind of like, it's live. Whatever happens, happens, and there it is for the world to see forever. So, hey, what's up, man? Titanic Discussions. Been a while, sir. One of my first subscribers when I started the channels, Titanic Discussions. I remember that because I was like, when you first start a YouTube channel and like nobody's watching, nobody cares. But then every now and then you get that one person, Zombie Grease. I remember that dude was the first guy to ever comment on a live video. I don't know whatever happened to him. I hope he's doing all right, but he was a cool shit. And Titanic Discussions was another one because he commented on one of the first things I ever did was a watch along of There's Always Vanilla, and he was just like, "Wow, somebody's watching and doing a watch along of There's Always Vanilla, like that's awesome. Like, where did this come from?" But good to see you, man. He says, "Good evening, Alpha and everyone. I'd like to describe my initial reaction to Day of the Dead and see if anyone else had a similar reaction. I did not like it. Did not like it that much as I felt it too hopeless." Yeah, I mean. Like I've said before, I was not a huge Day of the Dead fan the first time I saw it. Because I think, like most people, I wanted a Dawn of the Dead Part 2. Or, a different level of Dawn of the Dead. And, of course, when you start the film, in the first 10 minutes of the film, they're landing in this deserted city. And it looks so cool. And the zombies are all crawling out from all corners of the town. And they got the guns, and you're just like, oh man, like this is gonna be like just an action-packed thrill ride. You're just like, especially when I first saw it as a teenager, I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be Dawn of the Dead times 10. Like these zombies look rotten, and the city's deserted, and it looked like a real city. It looked like the downtown area where I grew up. Minus the palm trees and shit, which behind me, you can see them clear as day. And then, of course, like I've said before, then it's like, nope, we're getting back in the helicopter, we're going underground, and that's where we're going to spend the rest of this movie. So the first time you see it, it's just kind of like, that's not really what I wanted. I remember thinking the gore was amazing, and the effects was amazing. Like, that is what blew me away. Howard Sherman's performance always caught my attention from the first time I saw it. I thought that was amazing from the moment that I saw it. But like as a whole movie, it took me a while. It really took a long time for it to grow on me, and I think that was kind of the case for most people in 1985. Because I think 1985, that was like right in the middle of the 80s, and horror in the middle of the 80s was kind of catching up. So like, to me, Dawn of the Dead is the first 80s horror film because it mixed, gore, comedy, action. Like it was one big thing rolled into one. And really horror, I can't think of too many horror films, if any, that had done that prior to Dawn of the Dead. And so by the 80s, you get, especially 85. I mean, they just went, Dead Pit just went through the year of 85 the other night and ranked them. I mean, you just look at all the great, awesome horror movies that were there, but they all kind of had that same, like, fun vibe to them, that 80s party atmosphere. Return of the Living Dead, perfect example, 85. A zombie film coming out in 85, Return of the Living Dead, and people are like, this is what we want, punk rock, we want, some comedy, some splat stick, and of course 85 you had Reanimator, which is kind of similar. You had the Friday the 13th films, which had kind of by that time become, kind of like a party atmosphere, and then here comes Day of the Dead, and it's just like this grim, depressing, like, it's like I said, Day of the Dead is pretty much George saying, hey, life sucks and then you die. And that's all it is. And you're just like, God, it is really dark, really grim. But I think its popularity has grown over time. I hear so many people now saying like, oh, it's my favorite. It's my favorite of the Dead films. It's my favorite Romero film. And you look at it, it is like there's a lot of really flawless aspects to Day of the Dead. The performances. Joe Pilato. Possibly the best performance in any Romero film ever. Laurie Cardill's great in it. Howard Sherman, to me, is my favorite performance in Day of the Dead because it was the first time that I saw a zombie film where I actually felt sad for a zombie. Like I felt like when Logan dies and Bub's like, you see him kind of break down. For me, like I was like, wow, like I feel bad for him because he is just like a big baby. Like he's like a big child and you really feel sad for him. And what a performance that is to turn something like a zombie into a real fleshed out emotional character. The gore, the effects, I mean, it's literally still to this day some of the best practical effects you'll see in any film ever. Um, and so people are rediscovering it now. Like I said, to me, Day of the Dead is to Romero what The Thing is for John Carpenter. The film that came out and didn't do shit when it came out because it just wasn't what people are looking for. It's like The Thing comes out and people are still in, E.T. fever. Like everybody wants E.T. Day of the Dead comes out, but people are more interested in Return of the Living Dead, which I love Return of the Living Dead. Don't get me wrong. Still one of my all-time favorite horror zombie films ever. But it just wasn't, George was a little ahead of its time. It wasn't what people were wanting at that time. But then I think as time has gone on and society's become a little more cynical, maybe, which I think we have as a society become more, not only just more cynical, but more knowledgeable about how, institutional power is structured, and we're becoming a little more distrusting of government and military and stuff like that. And that's what Day of the Dead is all about, So there you go. There's my full thoughts on Day of the Dead, pretty much. I went on really, really long there, but excited to see you again, Titanic. Good to see you, my man. Ziggy, what's going on, Ziggy? Literally the biggest Day of the Dead Romero fan. There you go. See, I'm telling you guys, Day is now, it's just as popular, with some folks as Dawn, and some people like it even more than Dawn. So good to see you, Ziggy. Titanic discussion. Now, of course, I love it. Yeah, I think we're all there. Blunt, are you offering? Where? What? Oh. Like I said, I get behind. I go off on little tangents sometimes, and I get behind on these comments, so I apologize. But if you're offering, I'm down. I'll just say that. Jeff says one of the Dead commercials for the Monroeville Mall. I don't remember what that's in. See now. Oh, now is the time. Okay, there you go. That's what you're talking about. Now's the time. Nope, that's not the answer, Jeff. That's not it. It's not it. Good guess though. Big time shopping is finally here, Monroeville Mall. Which I actually have some pretty cool flyers I'm gonna be handing out at Living Dead Weekend this year that I had printed up that have that on it. So if you see me, ask me. I'll definitely give you one. And I'll have some stickers and shit too. So if you guys see me this year at Living Dead Weekend, come up, say hi. Let's chat a little bit, and I'll give you guys some tchotchkes to throw in your bag, along with the good shit. Your autographs and your good shit. But I'll give you a little extra stuff you can do whatever you want with. Lugan Bull Studio says, "What about shark armor? Did you talk about that? No movie ever used that before that I know of." I don't know. I can't think of anything, but it's not a bad idea. Can't go wrong with that, I guess. Unless you could think of a way that you could go wrong with it, but it seems solid to me. This dude's preparing. He's like, all right, what do we need now? Shark armor. We're gonna need either a samurai sword. Like this dude's. What do you know? Something we don't know, Lugan Bull? If you do, fill us in. Robert says countless millions of dollars have been made on the zombies that he created, and probably most of them don't even know who he is. That is a very sad but true. And talking about being underappreciated. I mean, one of the biggest, TV shows of all time, The Walking Dead, owes everything to George. And I mean, it pays homage to George. I'm not saying they don't really acknowledge it or anything, but I'm telling you, like, a vast majority of the people that watch that show religiously probably had never heard of the name George A. Romero, sadly. And probably wouldn't catch all the references and stuff and that was in The Walking Dead. But yeah, that's very, very true. Very sad though. But it's also kind of like, it's our little secret. I kind of like that too. Like it's my little secret. It's like, and when you meet people that kind of are in on the secret, you're instantly just like, all right, we're best friends now. Like we're cool now. Like, so that again, that's why Living Dead Weekend's so cool, because it's like everybody comes together and everybody knows the secret. It's like, oh, and you can just talk in fucking quotes from the movies, It's like one time I was in an elevator at the Doubletree at Living Dead Weekend, and I was in there with some guy, and I had a T-shirt on with, with Peter and Flyboy in the bank, and they got the money, and it's just that photo. And the t-shirt, dude just looked at my t-shirt, looked at me, he's like, you never know. And I was like, hey, money, money, money. And we just started talking, and just that scene that I don't even think we said hi or anything. It was just like, we just quoted the scene, and then elevator opened and we moved on. And it was cool. So yeah, where else can you do that? You can't do that at work or Walmart or anything. Walmart. Robert says, I don't know if I should meet Savini because if he's a jerk to me, I might call him out. I don't care. I mean, well, see, I've heard that from like Grande has said that before. He's like, I've heard too many bad stories. I've heard that from a couple of people, and you know, shoot your shot. You know, you're only. I mean, well, what's he gonna do? You know, shoot your shot. You never know. You might say something or ask him a question or have something that he's interested in, and you may spark up a conversation. Like I said, I've met Savini outside of a convention scene before. I bumped into him at the hotel at Living Dead Weekend one year. Literally, we bumped into each other. He was looking one way, I was looking the other. We bumped into each other, and he was just so cool. He was just like, oh, hey, like, oh, nice shirt. I think I was wearing like a Knight Rider shirt or something. He's like, oh, that's nice shirt. He's like, are you going to be at the show tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, I'll be there all weekend. He's like, oh, awesome. I'll look forward to seeing you. And he walks up and you're like, oh, wow, that was Tom Savini. Tom Savini's pretty cool. And then, you meet him at the show and it's like, where'd that guy go? But Since says chainmail armor used with sharks prevents penetration of teeth, but you can still get crushed and bruised, possibly bleeding internally. Riot gear was used well in Walking Dead. There you go. Answering all of life's toughest questions here, and you can always rely on Synth to have it figured out. I knew you'd get it, Matt. Now's the time is what Flyboy types on the typewriter. Absolutely, there it is. So if you watch in the director's cut, in the second shopping scene where they're shopping, but it's a little more somber, you see Flyboy typing on a typewriter, and he's typing the phrase that he types is "Now is the time," which I thought maybe meant like something like maybe Romero told him to type that to kind of portray like, oh, now is the time to leave. It's time to leave them all. Like we've this is dead end. This isn't going anywhere, and we're kind of becoming miserable. And this isn't all that it was. I thought that it would be cracked up to be. But I think from what I've heard, it's actually just an old phrase that they would teach people in typing class. Is just now is the time is a thing that you would learn in typing class. So maybe it's something that simple. But again, I looked too deeply into something and I'm thinking, oh, what does that mean? Now is the time. Now is the time for what? But it was, like I said, it's probably just something from the typing class. But there you go. Good call, Matt. Rick, the North going llama's in the house. What's going on, Rick? Good to see you always. Hello, all. Good to see everyone. Always good to have Rick. North going llama. Are you coming? You're going north. I don't know where. I can't remember where you're located or how far you are from Pittsburgh, but yeah, good to see you, my man. Matt says, I think Sunday is close to selling out along with the second Saturday tour. Yeah, I'll be on the Sunday tour, guys. So if Robert, if any of you guys, if there are tickets still available for that Sunday tour, if you guys want to take the tour with me, it's going to be me, Matt, Paul, Synth, I think Brett Aitken, 1911 Guitar Dudes on the Sunday tour, Will. So we're going to have our little gathering. Sunday, it's the last tour of the weekend and what could possibly be the final Monroeville Mall tour ever, sadly. So if there's still tickets available for that Sunday tour and you guys want to all kind of take it together as a little gang and watch Larry fucking do his thing, because it's, and see the mall as only Larry can, portray it, because like I said, the mall has changed a lot over the years. So when you go to the mall for the first time, it's like, wow, a lot is updated and it's kind of hard to kind of picture, unless you're like, you've like studied it or anything. It's hard to picture like, okay, where was this filmed? Where was this filmed? Larry's tour, it's like he takes you back in time and it's like, okay, I can see this shot now. Like I know, okay, this is where this was filmed. This is where this was filmed. And you get access to parts of the mall that are, otherwise you can't get to, like the boiler room and, the staircase. Both, look exactly the same almost as they did when they shot the film. So it's like literally going back in time to these places. It's pretty incredible. So yeah, if you can get in on that Sunday tour, come along with us. We're gonna have a good time. Like I said, I might be a little hungover because that VIP party is the night before, and I plan on getting toe up from the flow up. But But I'll be there with bells on, and we're gonna be a damn good time for sure. My says I want to go again because I was there last year, but I went in late July, and I have learned from here that Walmart purchased the mall. Yep, 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 yep. That's the big thing. My question is, will this convention be there for next year? We don't know. That's still up in the air. And from what I've been told, that the leases for the mall, for all the stores in the mall, have not been renewed past this year. So this could be the last year, and then after that, anything could happen because it's Walmart. It's not like, some other company bought it and there's a possibility that they're gonna, restore the mall or add to it or anything like that. Or Walmart has it, and Walmart's not in the shopping mall business that I know of. Like I said, best case scenario is maybe they just, make Walmart one of the anchors of the mall and still have some of the mall still intact. But outside of that, doesn't look too good. So if you can get there, like as we said, now is the time. As Flyboy typed on that typewriter, now is the time. If you want to go back, if you want to visit, take pictures, now is the time because it's all up in the air now, sadly. John says, I actually just bought the Martin 4K an hour ago. Forgot about it. Yeah, I mean the box. Did you get the box set or just the standard edition? I will say this: the standard, the transfer, the 4K transfer on that. Watch it in black and white. Turn the color all the way off and watch it in black and white. It's gorgeous, and I think that's the only way that film's ever going to look the way that it's supposed to look. Until we get an actual black and white print of that, a transfer of that possibly, but yeah, the box set's pretty cool. I love the documentaries on there. We talked about the Taste the Blood of Martin documentary. Second Sight, they do it right. Let me tell you. My sister, should I do everything I can to go this? Yeah, if you want to go, definitely make whatever effort you can make to get there this year, because like I said, past this year, who knows. Robert says, I love you, Mike, but I think you're crazy for how much you like Martin, but that's okay. My favorite movie is 1990, so I can't judge. Hey, it takes all kinds. Like I said, Martin's not everybody's flavor, it's not everybody's cup of tea. I totally understand, but I like weird shit. So I mean, I've talked about my favorite non-Romero zombie films, and some weird ones are on there. Zombie 90's on there on that list. Not because it's a great film or anything, but just because it's entertaining to me in a way that only that film has ever been. Another great one that I love that most people are just like, really? Like that movie? Is The Dead Don't Die by Jim Jarmusch. With Bill Murray and Adam Driver. I love that movie. That's like past 10 years, that may be one of my favorite movies I've seen in the last 10 years. So I have weird tastes at times. So but I'm honest. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I like something that I don't, or I dislike something that I like. Trust me. I will defend Halloween Ends. I will defend Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. Because to me, I dig them. And I'll be honest, and you can say, oh, wow, this guy's an idiot. What does he know? And I'll say, hey, what do I know? My opinion is just as valid as anybody else's, as much as yours. Night 90, I love Night 90. I like Night 90 a lot. I wouldn't say I love it. But I totally get it. Like, that was the first zombie movie I ever saw. That's what introduced me to this whole world, was the first time I saw Night 90, Tom Savini's Night of the Living Dead, so... But hey, like I said, takes all kinds. John says, one of my side projects is IDing the full credit list for There's Always Vanilla, Jack's Wife, and the Crazies. Only Vanilla's finished. Others are close. Rewatching Jack's Wife, it's really is a smart film marred by a dull premise. That's a good way to put it. I'll agree with that. I think it's a very ambitious film that George was trying to accomplish there with a very limited budget and limited time, and but I think on this, with all of its flaws and everything, I still think there's a really interesting story there, and what George was trying to say with that. And like I said, it's one of those films that I didn't like at all the first time I saw it, but the more I watch it, the more I find more to like about it. So, but very cool. I'm looking forward to that. I think that's just go down the list, man. Just go down, just get them all figured out by the end of it. Um, Nathan says, "Have you gone to many cons, and what is your best experience at one?" Living Dead weekend. I mean, that I think probably my last year was great, just because got to meet so many people that were familiar with me from the channel, and that was our first time kind of meeting. It was the first time I met Synth, hanging out with Will, and so I mean, last year was great, great time. First year was great because I was kind of the family vacation. In 2021, my daughter's first trip was to the Monroeville Mall in Pittsburgh. We took a plane and had a family vacation to Pittsburgh. It was my first time going to Pittsburgh, seeing the mall and all that. So that was just like a dream trip to me. So that one's hard to beat. I've been to Horror Hound a couple of times in Cincinnati. It's a big show. There's a lot going on there, but just a great list of vendors and stuff. That one's always a lot of fun to go to. But I really only kind of spend a day or so at the most at that convention. Any more than that, it's just a little too much for my brain. Of course, Texas Frightmare Weekend in 2008 was the first time I met George. First and only time I met George. And they had pretty much the whole cast of Night there. A lot of Dawn people, a lot of Day. I mean, that was my first convention, so that one will always have a special place in my heart. And just traveling to Dallas, I was only like 19 at the time. Me and my cousin, his girlfriend, we drove down there and spent the weekend, and that was a lot of fun. I mean, it's hard to have a bad time at a horror convention. I've been to some that were just kind of dull, where you just kind of walk in, you can spend an hour there and then walk out, and you're like, I didn't miss much. But it's like, where else would you rather be? It's not like I could have been at Walmart this whole time. But I don't go to a ton. Like I'm not one of those that like will spend a lot of my time and money going to every convention that I can, because I'm very specific about the shit that I'm interested in too. Like if a Romero person's going to be like, I went to the Horror Hound in Cincinnati a few years back just because I knew Gornick and Amplis and Daryl Ferrucci was going to be there, and so I went just to see those guys. But yeah, and especially nowadays, it's so expensive just to get a ticket to go in, and then if you want autographs or anything like that, photo ops and all that, it's so. And that's another thing about Living Dead Weekend. It's awesome. It's very affordable. There's nobody there that's charging $80, $100 for an autograph or anything like that. I think the most you're gonna see at these is 60. Like some of the bigger name, like probably this year, I would guess probably Lori and Terry Alexander and the main stars. Possibly 60, but even then, I think that might be a stretch. It may be 40. Most of the time, it's in the the $20 to $40 range for most people at these. So again, it's an affordable convention, as well as just being fucking kick ass. So, Rick says, "Hey, is there any way I can share my webcam broadcast live with the group if allowed?" I don't know. So in the live chat, I don't know. I can't say one way or the other. I really don't know about that, man. What's up, Nicholas? Nicholas Cato Strode. New name in here. Good to see you. And Dave Frankenstein says he thinks ghouls that immediately revived could last 10 to 12 years. Okay. That makes sense. I mean, after a while, you would just rot to nothing. So, which we kind of see some of that in Land of the Dead. Some of the zombies in Land are kind of barely mobile. So, it makes sense. Matt's saying, if I'm not mistaken, Day is around 5 years after Dawn. I can't remember where I heard / saw that. Maybe the original script. Okay, yeah, that sounds about right around in there. Which I've heard. I think in the book, The Living Dead. I want to say that's where I heard it, but George kind of had Land of the Dead timeline-wise before day. But to me, that doesn't really make too much sense. But Chin says, I read an interesting fan theory today that the leader of the police group at the police station from Dawn killed the real Captain Rhodes and took his identity. Possibly. I have a theory that the dude, that Pilato's character in Knight Riders became Captain Rhodes in Day of the Dead, because if you watch him in Knight Riders, he's pretty much doing a Captain Rhodes performance. He's standing there and he's got his hands on his hips and he's kind of holding court. I'm like, dude, that's very Captain Rhodes-ish. So I'm thinking he left the troop, went and joined the military, and then the whole shit hit the fan, and eventually became, Captain Rhodes. That's just my fan theory. Justin, what's going on, man? Justin Moreno's in the house. Look what the wind blew in. Alpha the Omega. Cheers, homie. Cheers, my man. Always good to see you in the chat. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein. Should say he just wanted to know what Dr. Frankenstein was doing this time. It was a good question. All they had is time. Since that's why they isolated the house chase scene in Document of the Dead. Great stuff. Yeah. Man, I'm really far behind. I'm going to try to catch up here. Trying to get to all you guys' questions. Y'all are burning it up, and I appreciate it. You guys are the fucking best. And I like to get to all you guys' comments, because that's the whole thing. Like, I'm not here to fucking hear myself fucking talk. I want to hear from you guys, because you guys introduced me to a whole lot of shit. So, Chin says, good description about Martin. I've seen it as an old version of an A24 film. And another one kind of like that, if you guys haven't seen Effects, Dusty Nelson's Effects. A great low-budget Pittsburgh horror film with Joe Pilato, Tom Savini, John Harrison. That's another one that was really ahead of its time in terms of the, elevated horror tag. Robert Nicolas Cage in a zombie movie. I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. I would be surprised if it does happen. Yeah, if you stick your head in the sand, I'll come up and behind you and bite off your ass. This is bullshit what we're doing here, Sarah. This is crazy. You could leave, couldn't you? With all this going on, you could just leave and not think twice. Right. I like to quote the Anchor Bay version of that, or the Sci-Fi Channel version. Right. I could do that even if all this wasn't going on. Nicholas says, love Joe Pilato's performance so much. Some of his lines are awkward, but he delivers them with so much confidence and passion that you don't question it. That's a good point. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, I couldn't see anybody else pulling that off quite like Joe did. Definitely couldn't. Robert says, I personally don't care at all about E.T. I grew up with E.T. Like, that was my thing when I was a kid. Not my thing now, really. But, I still appreciate it. It's still, nostalgic for me. Chin says, John's from Day of the Dead were grim, since all he wanted to do was get on an island and catch some sun. Yeah, I mean, John's perception. But was he wrong? I mean, really, at that point, it's like you're still trying to, you're still trying to function in a world that no longer exists. You're still trying to play by the old world's rules of, like, record keeping, the charts and the graphs and the record keeping and all the bullshit. It's like, what's the point anymore? It's like, society's over. Like, what we knew as society, like, there's no more, there's no more McDonald's, and the shopping malls are all closed, Now's the time. It's like, fuck it, let's go to an island, start fresh, get some babies. I'm just gonna keep quoting Terry Alexander all night, because I just like doing that voice. Mayor, what's going on, man? It says, oh, come on, Alpha. Bubba's the first zombie you felt sorry for. You had to feel sad about the cannibal zombie from Dawn. Well, when I first saw Dawn, like, I never really... I can't say I really ever felt sorry for any of the zombies in Dawn. I mean, I was at that young age, but it was just Bub's performance. Because Bub's performance, it was like, he was just like a baby. It was like watching a baby lose his mom in that scene. And it was just like, like, that was so effective the way he did that. But now, I mean, now when I watch Dawn, yeah, there's definitely the fucking baseball zombie, the box Arco Pitcairn zombie. You feel sorry for him. I mean, you Flyboy, you feel bad for Flyboy at the end of Dawn. But yeah, when I initially watched it when I was younger, like Bub was like the one that I was just like, oh, poor baby, poor boy. What's up, Rob? Says, what's up, Big Daddy? What's up, Big Rob? Good to see you. Keep that love flame burning, sir. Oh, the cannonball zombie. I thought you said the cannibal zombie. Cannonball zombie hit that fountain pretty hard. The old Cannonball King of Monroeville. There you go. Robert said, I used to like Day more than Dawn. Now I like Dawn more than Day. Yeah, I've heard people flip both ways. I'm still a Dawn guy 100%, but I do like Day a lot more than I did when I first saw it, for sure. Chen says, I used to argue with Walking Dead fans online about how without George there would be no Walking Dead. Yeah, like I said, most people didn't know, and it's not a fault against them. It's not like George was just a Hollywood staple. George was actually very anti-Hollywood most of his career, which is why I loved him. Because, I mean, anti-authority, punk rock, fight the system, like, fuck you, I don't need your structure and your money. I'm going to make this movie one way or the other. Like, that's always been kind of my mentality in life, the old punk rock mentality, the DIY way of doing things. So yeah, I mean, like I said, you can't blame him. It's not like George was flaunted at the Oscars every year or anything like that. But Mushroom Hill, what's going on, Mushroom Hill? How rude could he possibly be? I mean, it varies depending on who you ask. I guess talking about Savini, but that's a good point too. Robert said about Savini because he was in Vietnam. My dad was in Vietnam. He should have more respect. Yeah, definitely. And I think some of that might be maybe some awkwardness from maybe some shit he experienced in overseas. You never know. Because some people are just not good around crowds of people and getting accolades all the time and being told how great they are all the time by these people that, some people handle it better than others. But like I said, from everything I've heard, like Savini outside of conventions and just personally, and like you see him on podcasts or interviews or something like that, he just seems like the coolest fucking guy. So I guess that's why I was so taken back by it the first time I met Tom, because I had watched him in so many documentaries and interviews and stuff and just saw like, oh, he seems like the coolest fucking guy in the world. And then you meet him, and it's just like, oh, it's not quite what I was expecting. Since I talked to Savini a couple times in the hallway, he was cool with me. Yeah, I know he's cool with you, and I know Mayor. Mayor had a good experience with Savini. He's mentioned before, so I mean, it happens. I think it just depends on the mood and the time, and what's going on. Mayor says, yeah, I remember watching The Walking Dead and the plaid shirt zombie pops up and some people had no idea it was a Dawn of the Dead reference. Yeah, there's a lot of references in Walking Dead in terms of zombie, like shit I never knew because I was never a big Walking Dead guy. Like I never really got into it. I saw the first season and I was like, oh, it was pretty good, but after that I was just kind of out of it. But now, there's a Dr. Tongue reference. There's, of course, the Flyboy. There's a Flyboy zombie in The Walking Dead. So yeah, it's chock full of references and shit. All right, I might have to hop around here. We're almost an hour and a half in here. Like I said, I still got a stack of shit here we can talk about, but kind of like just going through the chat here as long as we want to, and we'll get to it when we get to it. Jen says Savini seems like a hard ass, but I would still want to meet him. I would say I would just take any attitude from the man with honor. It would be like meeting Stone Cold Steve Austin and taking a stunner from him. There you go. That's a good way to look at it. It's like meeting Stone Cold and handing you a beer and stunning you while you drink it. Rob says, I think Dawn is more of a fun thrill ride, but Day is the better made film. It's Tom Savini's masterpiece as far as gore perfection. I think it is. Yeah, I mean, I think that's... Which Savini likes to talk about Creepshow as kind of his masterpiece, his favorite thing he ever did, just because there were so many different types of effects that he was doing. But in terms of just like splatter, gore, I mean, yeah, it's hard to beat Day of the Dead still to this day in terms of practical effects. And I mean, you look at the crew that was working on that, it was just an all-star crew, and everybody pretty much on that crew went on to do bigger bigger things. You know, Savini was kind of the head of it, but I mean, you underneath him you had Nicotero and Howard Berger and you know, the optic nerve guys. I mean, there were so many guys that went on to do big things in Hollywood after that. I mean, it's no wonder that that movie, the effects in that movie are as good as they are. I mean, it was just a literal all-star fucking crew there. Yeah, there you go, man. Now is the time as an old typing exercise. Okay, Rick's in Northern California. Okay, well, hey, Sint's coming from that area, so Sint says he should have typed if you got the time. We've got the beer. I don't know if they had very much beer in the mall. I didn't even play. Maybe the Brown Derby might have had a few kegs kicking around there, but let's see. Chen says I agree about Don. It's an adventure movie from the start. Yeah. Rob says, hell yeah, it is. I wish Don had the effects of Day. That would be sick. Yeah, I would say, but I mean, it was like, it's like going back and saying, like, oh, Citizen Kane's in black and white. Why would I watch this? It's like everything starts somewhere and it's got to build. Like, Dawn was the first movie that actually tried to deliver on the gore and the blood and stuff quite the way that it did. And just the massive amounts that it did. You know, I mean, George always talked about he wanted to kind of numb the audience to the violence and the gore in Dawn of the Dead. Like, that was his goal. And the zombies, like I've said before, like the blue face zombies, I hear, like, especially younger, younger audiences will say, like, oh, the blue face zombies, they just look so silly. It's like, how could you take it seriously? But to me, like, those are what make those zombies stand out. I love those zombies because you can pick them out of a lineup. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the zombies in Day, like the makeup is great and the appliances and all that looks great, but I can't really pick them out, outside of, like, your Bubs and your Dr. Tongues and stuff like that, but they all kind of are just kind of this dirty, goopy thing. They all kind of look similar. Whereas in Dawn, you got just and I think it has to be that way in Dawn because it drives home the idea that they are us. They are just us. You know, they're dead, but there's still something trapped inside of them that they carried from their lives. And it's easier to see that when you're looking at a zombie that doesn't look like a morbid mess. You're just seeing, the nurse zombie. You're seeing sweater zombie, or the Arco Pitcairn zombie. You can still see their humanity because they're not overly made up. And I think that's a big issue I have with a lot of zombie movies now, is that they overdo the makeups and the appliances and the zombies and stuff to the point where you can't really make out who they are, what they were. I mean, so, but yeah, I mean, anywho. Zombie Historian, what's going on, Zombie Historian? It says, regarding Day of the Dead, critics such as Robin Wood claim that the ending can be seen as Sarah being killed at the helicopter and the island coda being their afterlife. Any thoughts? Could be. I think that that was always one thing I always was kind of, the ending of Day of the Dead was a little, especially the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, what a jip of an ending. It's like, oh, it was all a dream and we're on this island. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Although they were going to do a Night of the Living Dead Part 2, and, the main three were still alive on that island. But yeah, I could see that. I think that's not a bad theory. It actually would be kind of a better ending than if you just looked at the ending at face value. That she was just dreaming about getting to getting to the helicopter. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of dig that theory. John says, got the box set, should have specified. Very cool. Oh, and the cards. They come with some pretty damn cool cards, too. One of George, which looks really awesome. Chin says, I feel the effects are perfect for the comic book feel of Dawn of the Dead. Even the blue zombie tent goes well with that Goblin soundtrack. Yeah, I mean, it's its own specific flavor, for sure. Rick says, I think if Walmart gets in there, it will be about the same as the mall closing. Yeah, like I said, Walmart's not in the mall business that I know of, so. Mayor says, I actually did that when I first watched Second Sight of Dawn. Dawn looked amazing in black and white. There you go. I've actually never tried that. Never watched, well, actually, I will not, that's not true. I actually did watch, I hooked this up and I actually watched that Thorny MI VHS of Dawn. So I have seen it in black and white. But yeah, I do that a lot with movies. Like certain movies, I'm like, oh, what would this look like in black and white? Like a fun one, because it feels very film noir-esque, is Tim Burton's original Batman from 1989. Watch that in black and white, and it kind of looks really cool. Like it feels like a film noir, but it's a Batman movie. Another good one like that I was No Country for Old Men. That looks great in black and white, actually. So yeah, I do that a lot. But okay, there you go, Robert. Robert loves The Dead Don't Die. All right. Nathan says you should check out Dead Man by Jim Jarmusch. Dead Man's one of my favorite westerns. I love Dead Man. Jim Jarmusch is one of those directors that, like, his shit will either hit or it'll just completely just pass me by. I'm just like, I don't get it. But when it hits, it fucking hits. And Dead Man, the score from Neil Young is one of my all-time favorite scores, because it's just so edgy. It's so different. It's so out there. And Johnny Depp's great in it. Yeah, I love Dead Man. Definitely check that out. Since Dead Don't Die is good, I saw it a few months ago. One of the few Jarmusch I forgot to watch. Yeah, I think that's a big issue too with that movie. Is I think a lot of people just kind of flew under everybody's radar when it came out. But it's weird. It's a weird zombie movie, but it's got some interesting shit to it that and it's funny. Like and it's got a lot of Romero references to it. It's definitely, I look at it as definitely Jim's like love letter to Romero and his films. A lot of references and a lot of little Easter eggs in that film that if you're a Romero fan, you should be able to, like, oh shit, that's the car from Night of the Living Dead. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, but it's out there. It's out there for sure. Rob says, the first zombie movie I ever saw too. There you go. Jen says, do you think Savini would sign my Dawn 4K DVD box set at Living Dead Weekend? That would be the ultimate dream if he signed my copy. Absolutely. And I think about, like, we talk about Savini, but I think with Savini, he's very affordable. I don't know if he still does it, but I know for the longest time he was only charging $20. If I remember correctly, he was doing, if you buy an 8x10 off of his table, he'll sign it for $20 and then sign whatever else you got. And nobody else does that. Maybe Nicotero. Nicotero, I think at one point was doing it for free. He was just set up a table one year at Living Dead Weekend. I don't even think he was advertised. He just showed up and just set up a table and was just, signing shit for free. Or maybe it was like $10 or something like that, but it was all being donated to the GAR for something. I can't remember what it was, but so yeah, that's one cool thing about Savini is he's very affordable and he's not trying to, like I said, this is the way it was. I don't know if things have changed because conventions have changed so much, but yeah, definitely that definitely be which actually. One of the things I got, oh, don't fall, please don't fall. One of the things I got Tom to sign was the Blu-ray of Dawn of the Dead. I don't know why, I just had it handy, and I was just like, hey, because I mean, like I said, he was just signing whatever, and he was like, yeah, I'll sign that. So I actually got the Dawn of the Dead Anchor Bay Blu-ray signed by Tom, which is actually the last, sadly, the last Dawn release in the U.S., and that was, ages ago, 2007, I think, when that came out. So almost damn near 20 years ago. But that's a topic that's been beaten to death. Rob says, Chintz, yes, it is perfect in that sense. It has its own thing. I see Dawn as blue and Day as green in that way. I'd like to watch Dawn in black and white. There you go. Ed, what's going on, man? Ed Trader Music and Entertainment. Ever been to a wrestling con? I've been to some cons with wrestlers in it. I've been to some shows where wrestlers had shit signed, or tables where they would sign stuff. But I've never actually been to an actual wrestling convention like a WrestleCon or anything before. I don't think I have. I'm trying to think if maybe there was a smaller event or something local, but I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Trying to think, because I've been to so many different wrestling, like local wrestling events, and which a lot of time local indie shows will have like some legends there to sign before the show. Especially like your Southern wrestling. They get, Jerry Lawler's going to come to town. It's like, okay, Jerry's going to be there to sign. I remember one of the first things one of the first wrestling shows I ever went to when I was younger was at the local fair, the county, well, it was the Western Kentucky State Fair. And I remember Jerry Lawler was there and Stacy Keibler was there. And everybody was, it's funny, wrestling fans are so weird because everybody was at Lawler's table and nobody, and this is when Stacy Keibler wasn't Stacy Keibler yet. She was still Miss Hancock from WCW. So it was Jerry the King Lawler from WWF and Miss Hancock from WCW. And Lawler's table was packed and Stacy was just there, just waiting. And then, of course, she'd go on and date like George Clooney and shit. And it's just like, wow, she was in Hopkinsville, Kentucky at the state fair one year signing autographs and nobody cared. So I always thought that was kind of an interesting story. Rob says, never seen Dead Don't Die. Is it good? I think it's good. I think it's great. Like I said, it's probably one of my favorite films I've seen in the last decade. But again, I have weird tastes, and some people, some people don't dig it. So, but I highly recommend checking it out if you're a Romero fan. So, or just a zombie fan, or just a fan of weird ass movies. I think you dig it. Since it says Walmart is ruining the shopping quality and vibe of American stores, killing mom and pops, all becoming lifeless like zombies. So the Monroeville Mall takeover is sad and ironic. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I've always said, like if Walmart is going to spell the official end of Monroeville Mall, like it makes total sense, and it's like I said. If George was here and he heard that news, I feel like George would just say, "Yeah, that sounds about right. Like that makes sense to me." Rob says, Chintz, yeah, I totally see it. And the tint is there, like you said, to match. I wonder what color land is. Okay. I always look, so I'm one of those people, I forget what it's called, but it's like something where you visualize things and you associate it with a certain color. That's like a real thing. I think, like, certain artists talk about it. But I definitely do that. Night of the Living Dead is green, and I think it has to do with some of the like material. Like you see Night of the Living Dead, the poster, Night of the Living Dead's in green. But when I think of Night of the Living Dead, I think of the color green. When I think of Dawn of the Dead, I think of the color red. When I think of Day of the Dead, I think of the color yellow. When I think of Land of the Dead, I think of the color like bluish, like a dark. Because land is always kind of dark to me, so I'd say like a dark blue or something like that. I don't know. See, that piqued me because I'm just like, I do think of shit that way. Like, I think of bands in that way. Songs make me think of certain colors. But yeah, it's a good question. What color is land? See, Nicholas says, hello, thanks for the welcome. The 10 to 12 years gives us an idea of the maximum of how long it is before day. Yeah, that's a good point. Definitely think of it that way. It says a wrestling con is the most expensive con I've seen, hands down. Undertaker, $1,500 at least for the few he has done. Yeah, I've seen Taker at some conventions. Some of the prices he's at. There's no way. Like, I love Undertaker, and God bless him. And if somebody's willing to pay it, but people will at these conventions today. Like, people will pay anything to meet certain people. I get it. Like, they're heroes to some people, but. Like, even if Romero was like $1,500, it was like, oh, this is your chance to meet George Romero. Like, I would still probably like, yeah, maybe I'll try to catch him on a smoke break or something, like, But hey, if you got the money, what the fuck? Spend it. Yeah, see, land is purple. I'm not crazy. Like, I'm telling you, like, that makes total sense. Like a dark blue or a purple. Absolutely. Chin says, imagine if Romero wrote a script about how store chains like Walmart killed individualism in society. Yeah, I mean, he came close. Fiddler's Green is kind of reminds me of, it kind of goes back to George's thoughts on consumerism and shopping. It's like the world is ending all around you, but inside that one building, it's like everybody's just shopping and having, mimosas, and it's like you see the people walking by the storefronts, window shopping, and you're just like, you know, they're ignoring everything out there. In here in Fiddler's Green, they're shopping. You know, they're consuming. Robert said, I can't remember which interview because there's so many, but George said his new trilogy order was Diaries, Survival, then Land. Yeah, I've said that before. Like, that's a good way. The last trilogy, that's a good way to watch them. Diaries, Survival, and Land, because you kind of follow Alan Van Sprang's character throughout that. Because in Diary, he's, you know, it's the beginning of everything, and he's, you know, the National Guardsman. And Survival, it's the same character literally. And then Land, he kind of plays a similar character as one of the guards of the Dead Reckoning, but you can kind of, you know, you can kind of see like, oh, maybe that's the same guy. You know, he's survived all this time, and now he's one of the guards for the Dead Reckoning. So yeah, it makes sense to me. Mushroom Hill says, I like to think of Knight Riders was all Roger's fever dream from when he was laying in that bed in Dawn as he was turning. That's funny. That's pretty fucking funny. That's hilarious. But I would think he would have a bigger role than just as, you know, Marl. No, what's your real name? Marl. I love Scotty in Knight Riders. That one scene, he's pretty fucking hilarious. It's a good theory though. I like that theory. Nathan says Pilato and Day was a source of endless laughter when I was growing up. Still is. Just quote it. Quote it to somebody who doesn't know Land, or doesn't know Day of the Dead or is familiar with it. Just use some of those lines sometimes and people crack up. It's like, I'm running this monkey farm now. Like, get to work. You know, if you're the boss, or is this the shit that's supposed to knock my socks off? Shit like that. People love that. Mayor says, oh wow, I never thought of that about Pilato. Now I want to see Knight Riders crossover with the Dead films. Hey, I'm telling you, it makes total sense. When you watch him in Knight Riders, he comes off just like Captain Rhodes. And he's just standing there with his hands on his hips, and he's like, you know, he's, you know, talking about everything that's going on, you know. Very, very reminiscent. Chint says, I would say Land is purple or straight black from those fireworks scenes. The atmosphere is so dark and creepy. There you go. I agree. We're all on the same page here. We're all crazy. There you go, Rick. Rick's watching Day of the Dead right now. Hell yeah. Robert says Joe should have gotten an Oscar for Day. Yeah. Well, that's what fucking talking about Howard Sherman. That's what Roger Avery in the commentary that he did for Day of the Dead says, you know, I don't care if Raging Bull came out the same year. Like, Howard Sherman deserved an Oscar nomination for his performance in Day of the Dead. And I agree. I fucking agree with that. Call me crazy. Steven, what's going on, Steven? Steven Newstrack Jr. says, that's all right still. Throwbacks all have big dicks. Or as you put it, all have big fick. Where's Will when we need him? Quote, that's one of Will's favorite quotes from Day of the Dead. Yeah, I agree with that. Some actors are just born to play a role. I agree with that. There you go. Got it all correct. Another amazing line from Day of the Dead. Love it. Robert says Big Daddy was smarter, but Bub had more heart. Yeah. Although you get that same kind of vibe though from Big Daddy in Land of the Dead when he holds the dude's head and he gets, you know, the machine gun cuts his head off, and the body falls and he's just holding this head who's still watching the sky flowers, and Big Daddy puts him out of his misery, and you see the pain in having to do that, you know. So yeah, Big Daddy had some heart, and if you don't believe me, go listen to Love Letters. Oh, I love you, baby. You make my heart go, If you guys don't know about Love Letters, Eugene Clark. Come on. Keep the love flame burning. Come on, Rob. You know what I'm talking about. That's Rob Lucas's intro theme anywhere he walks into. Speaking of, says, I'm actually surprised that Joe wasn't a bigger actor because he had massive talent. Yeah. Well, he was supposed to play the George Clooney role in From Dusk Till Dawn. There's actually they actually shot a teaser trailer for before they started filming and actually doing From Dusk Till Dawn, and they actually hired Joe Pilato to play the role. So there's actually a trailer out there from Dusk Till Dawn with Joe Pilato as Seth Gecko in Dusk Till Dawn. Maybe on YouTube if you guys want to check it out. Chin says George was so punk rock, very DIY inspired mind. He's truly missed, absolutely. Drop says who would win in a versus match, Big Daddy or Bub? Probably Big Daddy. I mean, he's a bigger guy and he's more familiar. I mean, he just seems a little bit more evolved than Bub was at that point. And if you guys have ever met Eugene Clark, like, dude is massive. It's a big dude. And like that, I mean, Big Daddy is the name for him, let me tell you. Robert says Savini took pictures. My dad was in the bush sleeping with rats. He's a man of integrity, so I expect from Tom. Okay. Yeah, Tom saw some shit in as a combat photographer. Since his Nicotero's efforts give gravitas to The Walking Dead, the amazing K&B effects, and his new talent as a director/producer. Yeah, I agree with that. And trust me, it couldn't happen to a cooler guy. I mean, you guys know, like, I've said it before, like, not just that he popped into the chat one night or recorded that awesome video message that I play at the beginning of every stream, but I've always said Nicotero is one of the coolest guys to meet because he's just as big a fan as we are. Like Larry, I was talking to Larry earlier, and Larry said that Nicotero actually messaged him asking, if Larry could get him into the boiler room this year at Living Dead Weekend. I was like, really? Nicotero's never been to the boiler room? Like, oh, you got to do it, like that, because this might be his last chance. But Greg still like buys like memorabilia, is looking on eBay and stuff all the time to buy Dawn stuff. Like he's the coolest guy. No, he doesn't have to be. He could have just been like, oh, I made millions of dollars now. I don't have to deal with I don't have to mess with the commoner anymore or whatever, but he's just a big fan like we are, and and like I said, anytime you go to a convention, if you meet somebody at a convention who's just as big a fan of horror or the movies as you are, like those are the best guests to meet because they're definitely down for a conversation and they'll definitely talk to you about whatever. Paul says seeing Nicotero at the VIP mixer is just awesome. A big kid hanging with fans. There you go, Paul. There you go. Ed saying Walking Dead had the farmhouse and the gas pump during the Nigger and Backstory episode. There you go. Yeah, I mean, just a lot of references in The Walking Dead. Rob says the only thing about Walking Dead is the fake CGI blood and the headshots or stabbing. You can totally see it's fake. Flying blood effects and the blood doesn't splatter. Stabbing 20 zombies is not a splatter of blood. Yeah, that's one thing that always bothers me in modern films, especially modern horror films, action films, whatever. Anytime there's a gunshot. And I understand why they do it because movies are so expensive to make now. Like back in Dawn, like they would, use the squib and blood would splatter if they had to do another take. Like it takes time to clean all that blood off and redo the effect. Whereas if, now, that would cost so much money and so much time. It's easier just to add it in post, just to add the CGI, which is why George ended up having to do it in his last 3 zombie films. He was using all the CGI because it would just cost way too much time and money to do it all practically the way that they used to. Because I mean, you gotta think George was doing Dawn of the Dead, Martin, all that. He wasn't working, like it wasn't SAG, there were no, it was, no real rules or regulations there. They could take as much time, do as many shots and whatever. As long as the money was holding up and they had the money to do it, they were filming. By the time you get to Land of the Dead, Survival and all that, it was like money is so tight and every day costs so much money to be on set, so they have so little time to fit so much into. So I mean, it just is what it is. I much prefer the practical effects for sure, but it all comes down to time and money. Since says John Vulich also came out of the day crew and formed Optic Nerve Studio. Tremendous talent. Yep, that's right. God, it seemed like everybody, like Tursic, Mike Deek, Vulich, Everett Burrell. I mean, yeah, just all those guys on that crew. Incredible crew. Literally the dream team of horror special effects guys. Rob wants a 4th season of the TV show Creep Show. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that, whether that's coming or not. Steven says Don had some awesome effects. Zombie just got better on day. Yeah, I mean, you got to think Savini was still new to the business. Nobody knew who Savini was when he did Dawn. Dawn is what kind of put him on the map. And of course, all the practice he got after that. And, he got Friday the 13th, The Burning, Maniac, The Prowler. I mean, he was the king of splatter after that. He was working on everything. So you get bigger budgets, you get more experience, and by the time you get to Day of the Dead, it's like, all right, I got this figured out. I know exactly what to do now. Yeah, I get you, man. I get you. I do that all the time. Like if I'm in the chat and like the Dead Pit streams or in Grande streams, sometimes I'll type something out and it sounds one way in my head, and then they read it a different way. And I'm like, no, it sounds dumb. But yeah, I totally understand that. I've been there. Blake says I've never found any problems with Dawn's effects. Everything's perfection. I agree. I don't give a shit. even Jim Crut's big flat top. Even that, I'm just like, yeah, it adds to it. And you can put your own fucking. You can put your own story behind it. It's like, oh, I love the idea that he was on his way to a Halloween party as Frankenstein, dressed as Frankenstein's monster, and he ended up getting killed along the way. So he has this funky appliance on his head. Rob says actually consider the first 2 seasons of The Walking Dead to be heavily inspired by Night 90 because the farmhouse looks like it could be Herschel's farm. Like I said, I've only seen the first season of Walking Dead. I'm familiar with some other stuff that happened, but and it's not just specifically that show. I'm just not a big TV show guy in general. Like, it's hard for me to actually like dedicate the time and energy into an actual television show. All right, you're joking, Robert. You gotta be kidding. Love Day of the Dead 2008. Come on, Robert. I will say, like, I'd never seen it until I did a stream with Grande. It's probably been a couple years back now, remaking Romero. We were looking at all the Romero remakes, and I'd never seen it until then. And I watched it, and I was like, man, this is really bad, but it's kind of fun. Like, it's so bad that it's kind of fun type of thing, and I'm that kind of guy that loves, like, Hell of the Living Dead and Zombie 90 and those type of films, so, yeah, it's not great. I'm not going to go back and rewatch it anytime soon, but it wasn't torture. Like, it was kind of fun, I guess, in a weird way. Nicholas says, I feel like the end of Day is just a slick way of matching the trauma of the film, taking that seriously and recognizing it will take time to get over. Then they jump forward to the beach to show hope. Okay, I like that. Makes sense. Chet says there's a version of Dawn in black and white on YouTube, I think, but I don't think I can watch the movie without that blue tint. That blue tint for Dawn of the Dead just hits perfect. Yeah, it's definitely different. It's definitely weird. What is Dead Man? I'll check it out. It's a weird Western with Johnny Depp, directed by Jim Jarmusch. Something like 94, I think, is when that movie came out. And it's got a score from Neil Young. It's very slow. It's very atmospheric. It's not like a Western like, Clint Eastwood or, like a Sergio Leone type of film or anything. It's definitely just an atmospheric artsy fartsy type of Western, and has that vibe to it. And it's about a guy who gets shot and is dying, and the whole, it's very trippy. It's got an acid trip vibe to it, I guess. But I love it. I think it's great, and I'd recommend checking it out. Johnny Depp's really good in it. So Blake says Zombie I Light gets no love is the Catholic priest that bites Miguel's arm and still shoots. Something about that overacting of the zombies part is very charming. Yeah. I do kind of dig that. Especially when it gets shot and the head kind of just bobbles. It's like. Brandon says jump back in. What did I miss? I don't know, man. We've been going almost 2 hours now. We've just been going through the comments and just chatting, talking, just bullshitting. So, I don't even know how far behind am I, because this was, holy shit, I'm still like 20 minutes behind. We're almost 2 hours into this thing. So yeah, let me skip around here, guys, and then like I said, I got a stack of shit here I want to kind of show and get you guys' opinion of, and then we'll wrap it up and call it a night. Brandon says, I was gifted with an 8x10 of Dawn that has a lot of names signed to it, including George's. He had 2 that he got signed years ago, and he gave me one as a gift. That's awesome. Anytime you can get George's signature, that's a huge win. Wrestling. Going to wrestling. Yeah, I agree, Chance. Stacy was picked up as a fan from the crowd to be a Nitro girl, I think. I don't remember, but man, those legs. She got legs. See, Brandon, I've always said this, like, even years ago when I first saw, like when I was a teenager, like, I always thought, like, oh, if they were to do a remake of Dawn of the Dead, it should be set in Walmart, because, I mean, Walmart's kind of been the place to go for everybody, even when I was younger. So yeah, that would make total sense. I would not be shocked at all if we got something like that eventually. Mayor says, when I met Savini in 2019, he charged $40. I bought a print of Knight Riders, and I believe that also covered the selfie with Savini. Okay. So yeah, it may have changed over the years, but I feel like I remember specifically thinking it may have been like Horror Hound, because I had him sign his action figure, his Blades Land of the Dead action figure, and I think he only charged $20 for it. So it may change depending on where he's at, but I don't know. Blake says original version of Dead Don't Die isn't good. Yeah, I haven't seen that one. I know which one you're talking about, though. I've never seen it. I remember seeing that in rental stores back in the day and thinking, like, that looks kind of meh. Brandon says blue would make sense. I think Land of the Dead uses blue for some of the night stuff, if my memory serves right. Yeah, that's probably, because I mean, Land of the Dead is mostly at night, which is one of the things I was kind of taken back by when I saw it, because I was I don't know why. I just always kind of prefer zombies in the daytime. They're a little more, I don't know, terrifying to me. I don't know. Yeah, I agree. That's it, Bonnie. You got it. Synesthesia. There you go. Since the synesthesia is the association phenomenon, see sounds, taste, colors, feel shapes. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah. Green of the Dead. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Brandon. Save it and watch after Alpha Romero. We're only gonna be here for 3 hours tonight, guys. What else you got going on? Yes, sir. Guerrilla filmmaking for the win. Absolutely. That's the best. Like I said, I'm kind of skipping around here, trying to catch up with you guys. You guys have been tearing this chat up. It's always a pleasure hearing from all of you, including some new faces. Brandon says that's an overall problem with film productions nowadays. There's so much overhead on the day-to-day costs and on studio productions with the lodging, catering, things most people don't think of. Yeah. Yeah, it's not like, when they were doing Martin, they had a crew of like 8 people, and they could just shoot all day, all night, as many shots as they want. Yeah, it's not lit perfectly. Fucking shoot it anyway, Now it's like, just to get one setup for one shot, it costs time, money, lighting, like, and it's just like, yeah. So it's definitely much more of a, which again goes back to like guerrilla filmmaking, like just grab a camera, run and shoot. Like, I think some of that's just what I kind of grew up on watching Romero, learning from Romero. Mayor says, I just watched the From Dusk Till Dawn teaser from 1991. Pilata reminded me of Vincent Vega instead of Seth Gecko, but yeah, the trailer's on YouTube for anyone that's interested. Yeah, that's a good point. He is very Vincent Vega in it, for sure. Yeah, that's right. Brandon, Dead Man had Lance Hendrickson. I'm pretty sure I watched it. Yeah, it has Lance Hendrickson. I think it has a very early small role from Billy Bob Thornton is in it. It's kind of a funny scene. Who else is in it? Robert Mitchum has a role in it. Like, it's a pretty killer cast for just like a low budget indie black and white film from like 94. Nicholas saying Dead Man baffled me. I need to watch it again to get a handle on it. Yeah, it's definitely more of an atmospheric film. It's definitely more of a mood film. I wouldn't watch it for any kind of like compelling story or anything like that. It's definitely more of like an experience type of thing. Maybe before you watch it, I don't know. Maybe that'll help. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, there you go. Or Target, Career Opportunities meets Dawn. There you go. Blake saying, trying to get my local theater to do a Night of Living Dead stage play again. Yeah, they did that here recently in Louisville, and I was wanting to go to that, but we missed it. I want to play Cooper. It is great if an audience has never seen it done. Zombies constantly come down the aisle. That's awesome. Yeah, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see a stage play of Night of the Living Dead. I know they've been doing it for years. I actually have, which my buddy will. Let me go grab it real quick. Yeah, it's something. Something Will gave me when I met up with him at Living Dead Weekend last year. Something he found at a half price book. Something I've never really seen before. It's it's like a, I don't know, what do they call it, the playbill, or I can't think of the term for it, but it's basically like the script for the stage play of Night of the Living Dead by Lori Allen Ohm. It's pretty cool. Like I know you really see these too often, and he had an extra one. He was like, "Here, I want to give this to you as a gift." I was like, "Ah, that's really fucking cool." But yeah, so I just wanted to show that real quick. Speaking of Night of Living Dead stage plays, but all right, I think I'm pretty caught up here. So now that we're at the 2 hour mark, I want to do a little show and tell. Picked up a lot of stuff here recently, and quite a bit of it I've never seen before. So I'm kind of interested to get you guys' take on if you guys are a fan of these films or if I did okay. There's some that I've heard of, but just have never seen before, and I found them for pretty good price. A couple of VHS tapes, a couple of Blu-rays. First and foremost, though, as I pour my beer here, I mentioned it earlier, but I do want to give a huge shout out to my buddy Dirk over at the Subjective Perspective Collective on YouTube. Does the Eurocrypt podcast. Him and Darren were on the channel a few weeks back, but they were running a contest for the brand new 4K box set from Grindhouse releasing of Lucio Fulci's The Beyond. And I entered because I don't own the Beyond on anything. I don't even own it on DVD. And I ended up winning. And so I've yet to open it and really get into it yet. So I'm looking forward to doing that. But I just want to give a quick shout out. This is pretty fucking cool. And it came with the promotional little eyeball with it as well, which is pretty cool. And these things I guess are pretty, I don't know if they're out of print now or sold out. I don't know if they're still available or not. But this thing is pretty gorgeous. It's a really beautiful box set here. For any of you Fulci fans out there. So I just want to give a quick shout out. I did get this in the mail. Dirk, if you're watching, if you watch later on, thanks again, man. Very, very cool. Everybody check out Dirk over on Subjective Perspective Collective on YouTube. He does the Eurocrypt podcast with Darren. It's on that channel. It's also on the Dead Pit channel as well. So if you're a fan of Italian films, Giallos, Argento, Fulci, they cover it all, and those guys know their shit. So definitely check it out. But yes, got this in. Looking forward to opening it and digging in and getting all the Fulci goodness, as they say. But yeah, big shout out to Dirk. Dirk may not be a Dawn of the Dead fan. Yeah, he's not a big fan of Dawn. That's a negative. But he's a damn cool dude. So really appreciate that. That was really cool. So today I picked up a couple of records here. I don't really buy a whole lot of vinyl anymore, but every now and then there's something out there that I'll pick up. Any music fans out there, Super Heaven just released a new album. Pick that up on vinyl today. If you guys are fans of Super Heaven or have heard of them, check them out. Really good bands. It's their first album that they've released in almost 10 years. So I was looking forward to digging into this, start listening to it today. Really enjoyed it. So if you're fans of like Deftones or, Balance and Composure or anything like that, you don't know Super Heaven, I'd recommend checking them out. And then, speaking of Italian, I did pick up the new release, record store day release of Goblin's The Other Hell, which I wasn't too familiar with. But I looked on the back. I mean, it looks like it looks similar to what they did with Vampire. It looks like just kind of a collection of different Goblin tracks from different albums. But a lot of stuff on here. I mean, you can't go wrong with Goblin. I mean, mentioned it earlier. I mean, Goblin's music is God. Love Goblin. So I found this, couldn't resist, had to pick it up. It's a record store day exclusive. I don't know how limited they are. Yeah, I don't think it says, but very cool. It's pink. That's an interesting cover for a Goblin album. Pink. And I don't know what The Other Hell is. I guess that's a film I'm not familiar with. I've never seen it. Don't know too much about it. But you find some Goblin, you gotta go for it. And I haven't even opened it yet, so let's do it. Let's do it right here. Let's open it and see. I guess I could do that with the Beyond too. But I think the Beyond, I feel like everybody on YouTube has gotten that box set already and has already opened it and shit. Well, this is kind of hard because sometimes I like to kind of keep the plastic on the actual thing because it's got the stickers and stuff, but I'll just have to keep the sticker separate because the way that this record even opens, I'll set that over there. It doesn't open from the side. You actually, you can see it here. It's actually a gatefold, kind of like that. Get the microphone out of the way. Get some images from the film. Yeah, I've never seen the film. I don't know anything about it. New to me, but hey, Goblin. It's Goblin on vinyl, so I had to get it. Now I gotta figure out how to close this damn thing. That's pretty cool artwork. Pretty cool, actually. So yeah, The Other Hell, original motion picture soundtrack from Goblin. Picked that up today. Can't go wrong with Goblin. Can't go wrong with Goblin. And I'm gonna go through some of these movies that I picked up. Got 4 VHS titles here and 6 Blu-rays that I picked up. Now a couple of these I have seen, but most of these I've never seen before, so I've got them looking forward to watching them for the first time. And some VHS tapes, or movies as we used to call them. Some videotapes that I picked up today. Actually, the first one got quite a few Brian De Palma here. Actually, first one from Brian De Palma is Body Double from 1980. What year was this? Doesn't say. Early 80s. Never seen it. Never seen Body Double before. So found this on VHS. It's looks like a re-release. Columbia TriStar from 93. So okay, so the film was 1984. I think this tape came out in 93. So Body Double, Brian De Palma on VHS. Pretty cool. Looking forward to that. This is one I've been wanting to see for quite a while. Oh, I've heard a lot about, but never watched. Another one that I've never seen that Uncle Bill puts over all the time. I mean, UB's a huge William Friedkin fan, and never seen this film. Found it on VHS today. This looks like the original release from when it came out. Yeah, I believe it is. 1985's To Live and Die in L.A. on VHS. And this is a Vestron video release from 86. And the funny thing is that the tape has no label on it. So the label has completely come off. It's just kind of floating around in there. There's no label on the inside. Just the, if it'll focus on that. Very bootleg. I don't know. It just says, To Live and Die, number 5123 Vestron video. So there may be, no, I don't see a label in here. So this is an old sucker. Put that back in there with the label. But yeah, never seen Live to Live and Die in L.A. Been looking forward to watching this. Found it on VHS for $5, so I was like, I'll watch it on the old solid state back here. Why not? But yeah, I've liked pretty much everything I've seen of William Friedkin's. I'm not the biggest like Friedkin guy. Like I don't know a ton about William Friedkin. But I mean, The Exorcist, French Connection. I mean, when that alone, I mean, put you up in the upper echelon of filmmakers. So been looking forward to seeing this one. Another De Palma film, one that I have seen, that I think I love. I think everybody pretty much agrees this is one of De Palma's best films, and that is of course Blowout. John Travolta, Nancy Allen, and John Lithgow, and this was 1981. It was Blowout, and people kind of refer to this one as kind of like an American Giallo type of film. I can see that. It's definitely an interesting, well-made De Palma film, and Lithgow is so good. First of all, John Travolta was one of his best performances in anything ever, and Lithgow as the villain is just as good. And it's one of those things. It's like I grew up with John Lithgow on like Third Rock from the Sun, so when I first saw him in Blowout it's just this evil fucking psychopath. It was just kind of like, wow, that's different. But yeah, so Blowout, De Palma, and the last videotape that I found today for $1, and it's one I've never seen. And it's one I've been meaning to see because there is a Romero connection to it. So I found it for $1, had to get it, gotta watch it. It's John Cryer in Morgan Stewart's Coming Home from HBO Video. So if you guys are not familiar with that, I remember hearing about this. I think the first time I heard this was from my buddy Robert Dobbins in one of the chats a couple of years back. It was like, hey, have you seen Morgan Stewart's Coming Home? I was like, I don't even know what that is. I've never even heard of that. He was like, oh, if you're a Romero fan, you'll love it because the main character that John Cryer plays in this is a huge Romero fan. And at one point, he actually goes to meet George Romero in the film. I don't think it's actually George Romero, but it's, going to meet George Romero is like his goal in the film. And he's like, in the film, he wears like a Day of the Dead t-shirt. So that piqued my interest. I haven't found it anywhere yet. So I found the videotape, VHS of it, today for $1. So I was like, well, all right, well, here's my opportunity. I got to get it. Yeah, old school HBO Video, 1987 was this film. So how many of you guys, I mean, we're all Romero fans here. I can't believe I never even heard of this movie until, like I said, a couple years ago. How many of you guys have seen this film? Morgan Stewart's Coming Home. It's like a comedy, I guess. It's not a horror film, but what do you guys, have you guys seen this before? What are your thoughts on it? Let me check the comments. What are you guys saying? What I got so far? What do I got so far here? Where the hell was I? Oh, private account. What's going on, private account? Says I made a silly little slasher flick with a tribute Romero / Savini Blue Zombies. Nice twist. Okay, very cool. Glad to get her private account. Don't know why your account's so private, but curious. Oh yeah, that's right, Brandon. Pilato is also in Pulp Fiction as the Dean Martin impersonator. Seems Robert and Quentin really liked him. Yeah. Quentin's a huge Romero fan. I mean, everybody. There's a story out there I'm sure you can find on YouTube. Tarantino talking about Dawn of the Dead and how he claimed to be in Dawn of the Dead to try to get his first acting gig. Because I mean, it's like everybody was a zombie in Dawn of the Dead. I mean, there's no way you can really, prove him wrong. And you gotta say it's like, oh, I was a zombie in Dawn of the Dead, and it's like, oh yeah, I mean, who's to say you weren't? Since the Night of the Living Dead with Puppet Show was funny. I don't know if I've seen that. They did that animated movie, Reanimate, or what was it, Night of the Animated Dead, or whatever the hell it was called. I never saw that, but. Jeff says, have a great week, Michael. Everyone in the chat. Thanks for hopping in, man. Good to see you as always. Chet says Goblin was such a great band from the 70s. Yeah, I agree. very influential. Well, I think far more influential than I think they get credit for, I think, a lot of the times. Yeah, did Suspiria. They did Deep Red, Argento's Deep Red, Suspiria. They did soundtrack for Dawn of the Dead, of course. And then they kind of split off in different, like Tenebrae. Like most of the band was a part of the Tenebrae score. So I mean, yeah, they've done a ton of Italian flicks back in the day. Since I still need to work on my Goblin cover tracks. Yeah, man. Get them done. I want to hear them. Private Account says features Southern Culture on the Skids from I Know What You Did Last Summer. Did the synth soundtrack myself. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Since his Body Double is a great one. Fun Frankie Goes to Hollywood scene in it. Okay. Y'all like Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Nobody hates on Frankie. Steve's Body Double is an awesome movie in my opinion. I actually have it on DVD. There you go. Yeah, it's one that I've always heard about. Like, people always mention it in terms of, like, De Palma's best films. And it's just one that's, just, again, flown under my radar. So I need to, definitely going to be checking that out. Watching the old videotape. Since says Friedkin's great unofficial follow-up to the French Connection series, sort of. Great freeway reverse chase scene and amazing soundtrack by Wang Chung. Okay. Yeah, which maybe one here in a second, but I got specifically because of the soundtrack. It says Good Haul. Yeah, those Vestron labels were bad about coming off. Yeah, it's still there. I'm surprised it's still a part of the tape, but yeah, it's not sticking. It's just kind of hanging out in there. Since as Antonioni's Blow Up is better, Blowout is a remake of sorts. Never seen Blow Up. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. But yeah, I'll definitely do it. Because that's what year did that come out? Was that 70s, I'm guessing? 60s, 70s? Yeah, killer t-shirt in that one. Yeah, he's got the I think it's like the original blue Day of the Dead t-shirt in that. Says, oh man, that one, another John Cryer film? Yeah. Yeah, in a mall. He meets George Romero in a mall. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to checking that one out. Larry's a fan. Morgan Stewart's a good, fun movie. Can't go wrong with 80s comedies for the most part. Very rarely. Yeah, kind of lame, but very nostalgic, and Romero references are so cool. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of like. That's really why I got it. It was just a movie about a guy, you know, a comedy about an 80s comedy about a guy coming home. It's like, yeah, whatever. But I'm curious to catch all the Romero references and stuff. I think that's pretty damn cool that was a thing. Who was So who directed it? Alan Smithy. That sounds kind of familiar. Who wrote it? Screenplay by Ken Hickson and David Titcher. Don't ring any bells. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool that would be like the main character's. It's like he's one of us, you know, type of thing. Sorcerer is another one of Friedkin's that I've never seen. I still need to check out when I get a chance. Absolutely. Robert says I've been drinking. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. It's fine. Nothing wrong with having a few. It says that's a good film. John Cryer is also great in Hiding Out. Never seen that one either. Love your stuff. Thank you very much, ma'am. So this is your burner account. Didn't feel creative. Okay. What's your Okay. So you're saying never join the chat, but always watching. Gotta hop off. And y'all stay reanimated. Well, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you stopping in and saying hi. Stay out of trouble with that private account now. Oh, 1 second, guys. 1 second. Alright, we'll press on. Looks like my connection's still shitty. God damn it. So I just switched to Spectrum. So I'll give you guys a story. I just switched to Spectrum because my previous internet sucked, as you guys all probably saw. And I've seen the past few weeks, and it's still not the greatest, and I don't know what the fuck else to do with it. Anyway, we're almost done here. We'll push through. I'll turn the Wi-Fi on, see if that helps. Where was I? Yeah, that's right. It's Sorcerer with the Tangerine Dream score. That's right. Yep, never seen the film. Now everything's running slow here. It's all falling apart. It's all going downhill. There we go. It says Alan Smithy is the famous pseudonym used by a studio where the director disowns the movie. Okay. Let's see, Bonnie said the same thing here. Alan Smithy is used when the director doesn't, I won't finish typing that on my phone. Doesn't want to be associated with it. Okay, well, I really look forward to seeing this movie now. It's either Alan Smithy or Vincent Dawn. So, yeah, how bad could it be? I don't know. We'll see. Brandon says Sorcerer's one that didn't do well but became a cult classic years later. It seems very tense movie. All right. Yeah, that's one that Uncle Bill talks about a lot. He's a huge Friedkin fan, like I said. So, I'm trying to catch up on some of those because I've missed out. I've missed out on a lot of those. I've been too busy watching, Zombie 90 and shit. It says Jim Cornette has cussed out Spectrum on his podcast. Yeah, I might start because this is never ends. Never ends. Robert says, ultimately, the only person I care to meet at Living Dead Weekend is you, Mike. Oh, well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Hey, man, come. Look forward to meeting you, too. Like I said, we'll all be there. You'll not run out of things to do. I promise you. I promise you that. And there's way cooler people there than me, so there you go. I appreciate that. All right. So, got some Blu-rays here, most of which I haven't seen before. So, I want you guys' thoughts on these. Good buys, bad buys, interesting. And some of the, like, a couple of these, it's just like, God, how have I not seen these? But one that I got that I did get that we actually talked about here recently is The Hustler with Paul Newman and Jackie Gleason. Love The Hustler. It's a great movie about, if you guys haven't seen it, it's great. Jackie Gleason is Minnesota Fats. It's awesome. Plays his best role. Paul Newman, you can't go wrong. But if you guys like billiards, movies about guys shooting pool, I mean, this is the godfather of those films. So, and of course they made the sequel years later. I think Scorsese did the sequel, Color of Money. So if you guys have seen that, this is where that movie came from. So, didn't have this, found it, picked it up on Blu-ray. Love The Hustler. And then also got Maniac Cop, the Synapse Blu-ray. The Bruce Campbell, Tom Atkins, Robert Zadar. Never seen it. Never seen Maniac Cop. I've seen Maniac Cop 2 years ago. Because I forget they played it on USA or something like that. Maybe it wasn't USA, but it was one of those channels. But I've never seen the actual first Maniac Cop. Of course, William Lustig, who directed one of my all-time favorite horror films, Maniac. So it's kind of surprising that I'd never seen, Maniac Cop. But again, it's one of those films that I've heard some people will really put over and say, "Oh, wow, that's a horror classic," and then some people will just say, "It's kind of a piece of shit." So I'm curious to check it out. Bruce Campbell, Tom Atkins. I mean, how bad could it be? How bad could it be? Another De Palma film I've never seen. somehow, some way. It's Carlito's Way. Never seen Carlito's Way. Sean Penn, Al Pacino. Again, one of those films that everybody talks about. I've always heard people talk about, and a lot of people put over. And I've heard a lot of people actually say like they like it better than Scarface. I've heard quite a few people say that, and I love Scarface. So yeah, didn't own it, never seen it. Found it was like $5. I was like, yeah, oh, I gotta pick it up. See, the store here, there's a place called Mega Replay here in Evansville. They run a special every couple of months where it's like, buy 3, get 3 free. So I just go in and I just start picking out shit I ain't never seen before. Another one I've never seen before is Clive Barker's Nightbreed. And I got the Scream Factory director's cut release of Nightbreed. So, looking forward to checking this one out. And this one has, I'm pretty sure this one has David Cronenberg in it. Yeah. Yeah, never seen it. But has David Cronenberg in it, so I got to check it out. Music by Danny Elfman. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. What year was this? 1990. So another horror film from 1990. This is a Blu-ray DVD combo pack. And I've heard people say, like, the director's cut of Nightbreed is the better version and the way to go to watch the film. So glad I'm starting out with that. But yeah, I've never seen it. You guys fans of Nightbreed at all? Is this Scream Factory, it's pretty much it's hard to miss with Scream Factory with these horror titles. Some pretty cool features on here. God damn. So this is a 2-hour long film. It says new director's cut with over 40 minutes of new footage. So yeah, this is the full thing here. It's Clive Barker. I love the Hellraiser series. I actually got another Clive Barker title here that I've never seen. And this is a Kino Lorber release. It wasn't directed by Clive Barker, but it was written by Clive Barker, and that's Rawhead Rex. Never seen Rawhead Rex either. But saw they had it, had to get it. But this is written by Clive Barker, and this is one that I've heard people say, it sucks, or it's not very good, and it's very split. I've heard both ways. Not universal praise, but not universal hate either. So this is 1986. Who else in this sucker? David Dukes. Not that David Dukes. I hope. There's that David Duke, the Grand Wizard of the Kelly Piper. Sounds familiar. I'm not 100% sure who that is. Directed by George Pavlou. Not too familiar. But yeah, I don't know much about this, but I've seen it. It's got, how can you look at that cover and see the name Clive Barker and not say, oh, I got to check this out. So, and it's Kino Lorber. Kino does great work on their stuff. So, and it's got the reversible artwork on here. Which I don't know about you guys, but when I get a Blu-ray or something with the reversible artwork, I always reverse it, like turn it over to the original artwork on it. Which the new commissioned artwork on these are usually pretty cool, but I just like the classic one sheet artwork, I guess. And then the last film that I got that I've never seen before, but I've always heard about, directed by Paul Schrader, and I got this specifically. It's Cat People from 1982, early 80s. Yeah, Malcolm McDowell. Who else is in this sucker? Written by Alan Ormsby. Annette O'Toole, John Hurd, Malcolm McDowell, Natasha Kinski, which I guess is Klaus Kinski's daughter? Wife? Somebody. But the reason I got this, the film itself, I've never heard really too many people talk about. Although Paul Schrader, I'm a fan of Paul Schrader. He wrote Taxi Driver and has done some pretty good work. But the reason I got this is Giorgio Moroder does the score on this, and I'm more familiar with Giorgio Moroder's scores than I am a lot of his films. Like Midnight Express is one of my all-time favorite film scores, but I've still yet to see that movie. I've never seen Midnight Express, but the score, I have it on vinyl, and it's one of my all-time favorites. And Cat People's the same thing. Love the score for this. I've listened to the score 100 times, but I've actually never watched the movie. So, but yeah, 3.5 stars out of 4 by Roger Ebert. So, and it's a remake of the 1942 Cat People, which I was familiar with. I've never seen either one of them. So, but yeah, Giorgio Moroder's score for this is awesome. It's the David Bowie song "Cat People." Gasoline, it's been so long, I'm putting out fire. Yeah, that one. Again, reversible artwork. Probably gonna switch it over to the original artwork here. But so yeah, had to pick this up. I can finally check out, see what how the music fits the movie as opposed to the other way around. But yeah, Cat People, 1982. So yeah, that's what I picked up lately. A lot of stuff that I'm seeing for the first time, so I'm looking forward to it. And I'll let you guys know my thoughts. But let's see. I got a vibe that some of y'all are gonna be like, really? You haven't seen that fucking movie yet? You've never seen that movie? There's so much out there, man. There's so much to see. I had that conversation with Matt the other day. We were talking about Possession, the one with Sam Neill and the girl from Nosferatu the Vampire. I can't think of her name. But that's one that's been on my watch list forever. And he was like, "Oh, you've never seen that?" I'm like, "Man, it's just I haven't gotten around to it yet. I plan on it. I will. I promise." Well, let's see. We're here. Larry says I have a 16mm print of Sorcerer. Great movie. That's awesome. Let me borrow it. That's how I'll watch it. Let me borrow that 16mm print. Brandon says, I always laugh at the trucks in Sorcerer having the name Sorcerer and Lazaro only because my father-in-law had 2 dump trucks named Wampum and Bam Bam. It just reminds me of that. Wampum and Bam Bam. It sounds like a bad jobber tag team from the WWF back in the 80s. Wampum and Bam Bam. Rick says, so Mike, is this the last year for the Monroeville Mall Dawn of the Dead tour? Like we were saying earlier, it looks like, it's a very high possibility. The mall has been bought. Everything pretty much has been bought. There's no nothing really up in the air in terms of property wise when it comes to the Monroeville Mall and Walmart's ownership of it. And from what I've heard, no leases have been extended past this year. So after this year, there's no guarantee that the mall's even going to exist anymore. So yeah, looks like this could be the very last opportunity for it, unfortunately. Since the Spectrum is a bad name for a provider, since your quality of connection can run the spectrum of good or bad. Yeah, that's a good way to fucking put it. Which it's doing fine now, but for a second there, it was kind of getting shitty again. But yeah, that's a good point. Brandon says no one really knows, but it's being treated as such. No one knows if or when the mall will be torn down. Yeah, that's true. That's my way of thinking. It's like I don't know for sure one way or the other, but better safe than sorry. I'm just gonna treat it as such. And if it goes beyond that, then that's just icing on the cake. That's just that's just extra gravy. You know what to say. Since says Bruce Campbell's Maniac Cop 2 opening is a spoiler alert. Maniac Cop was fun. Okay. It's been so long since I've seen Maniac Cop 2 that I don't even really remember what the hell happens in it. I just remember watching, I was really young. I was probably 10, 9, 10, something like that. And I remember thinking it was pretty fucking scary at the time, but again, that was when I was a child, so Larry says I have a Laserdisc of Maniac Cop signed by the entire cast and director. Got it in trade. That's very cool, man. Yeah, I like William Lustig. I'm not, like I said, some of his movies aren't really my cup of tea, but man, Maniac to me is in terms of just 80s slasher, it's just the gold standard to me. Even more so than your Friday the 13th or anything like that, which I know that those films are more popular and more people are into them, and that's cool. But Maniac to me, I just love that fucking movie. The ending of Maniac is the only thing keeping it from being a perfect horror film to me. I just love Joe Spinell's performance, Savini's effects, the vibe of the whole movie, just New York City during that time period, the griminess of it. Um, it feels Italian almost, like it has there's a vibe to it that feels very Italian to me. Um, but like it just kind of ends a little abruptly. It kind of ends like, oh yeah, you can see they just kind of ran out of money here. You know what I mean? Kind of like Effects. Like I think Effects falls in the same category. You can kind of tell when they started running out of money and time on Effects too. Um, but so I'm looking forward to it. I'm curious to see, because I mean this is kind of what, like a little bit. Was this the film that Lustig did right after Maniac, if I'm not mistaken? Or maybe he did something in between. I can't remember, but um, since this Carlito's Way has a good John Leguizamo performance, Benny from the Bronx. Okay, I've heard that too. I've heard that from people that actually hate John Leguizamo. They're just like, oh yeah, but he was good in Carlito's Way. So um, Nathan says I've been wanting to see The Hustler. One of those I need to get to. Yeah, The Hustler's great. Yeah, like I said, Jackie Gleason. I forget who I was talking to about The Hustler and just talking about Jackie Gleason. I think it may have been Ed, maybe. Um, but yeah, I love him in The Hustlers, Minnesota Fats, and Paul Newman. I love the way the movie begins. Like Paul Newman's like the coolest, baddest motherfucker in town. Like nobody can hold a candle to him when it comes to shooting pool until he meets fucking Minnesota Fats. And Minnesota Fats is, I don't want to spoil it. It's so fucking good, man. It's such a good film. Larry says, "Wow, I saw Nightbreed in a theater when it came out in 1990." What are your thoughts on it? I mean, have you seen the director's cut of it? Because I've always heard like that's the version to watch, as opposed to, because I mean, 40 extra minutes of the film. I mean, it pretty much seems like half of the movie, which kind of sounds like what Savini's talking about with the Night 90 4K that's coming out. That, it makes you kind of think like, is there like 40 extra minutes of footage laying around somewhere that are being added in that we've never heard about? Since this Nightbreed is a weird one, ruined in theatrical edit to a point, Cronenberg is fun in it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Cronenberg in it. But that's the thing I've always heard of Nightbreed. Like, it always looked cool. Like, I remember seeing it on the shelves in video stores and stuff when I was younger and thinking, like, oh, that looks really cool. And I always kind of got it mixed up with Near Dark sometimes, which Near Dark is great. That's one of the best vampire films of the 80s, easily. But I always kind of used to get them mixed up when I was younger, Near Dark and Nightbreed. And, but it's just one I just never got around to watching. And I've always heard from people that were just either hot or cold on it. They're just like, you don't need to see it. Or some people are just like, oh, yeah, it's pretty good. It's not bad. So. And those are usually the films that I'm kind of interested in. It's like when there's not a consensus, it's like, that's what interests me. Like, am I gonna love it? Am I gonna hate it? I don't know. We'll see. Brandon says I recently picked up Skinamarink and A Violent Nature, The Witch, and something else. Forget. Wish the Mothman Prophecy was on Blu-ray. I've heard more people talk about that here recently too. The Mothman Prophecy. With Richard Gere, right? Wasn't Richard Gere in that one? The Witch, I love The Witch. The Witch is one, it's, probably still my favorite Robert Eggers film, I would say. The other two, I'm not a big fan of. Skinamarink and In a Violent Nature. I think to me, In a Violent Nature had a great concept. A great idea, but it needed a more capable filmmaker behind it. And kind of the same story with Skinamarink. I think Skinamarink was kind of an innovative, original idea that just kind of wore out its welcome because it didn't really go anywhere. It didn't really have an end point. Like it didn't. It's like usually you can start a film like Skinamarink, like it starts, and then by the 30 to 45 minute mark, it should kind of grow a little bit, but it just kind of stagnates throughout the whole thing and just kind of like it never really, like I thought it was going to take that turn when they're in the bedroom and the scene by the bed and stuff like that, but yeah, it just didn't do it for me. And believe me, I've talked about it. I like some weird off the wall shit, and I was totally up for. And that's the thing with In a Violent Nature too. I mean, the concept is different. It's something different. I'm always down for something different. I think In a Violent Nature, the concept of In a Violent Nature, the way that it's filmed, and the way the story's told, I would love to see a Friday the 13th film like that, where if it was Jason. But to me, like In a Violent Nature was like didn't know whether it was a parody of a slasher film or if it was trying to be serious or what the hell's going on. And then the last 15 minutes of the movie is just like what? So yeah, it didn't blow me away. But I do love The Witch and Mothman Prophecy. I probably haven't seen since it came out. To be honest with you, I don't remember too much about it, but I know that's from like it's based in West Virginia, I think, where it's actually based on the actual Mothman, the cryptid, I guess is the word for it. Very cool. Yeah, I love The Witch though. Steven says won't go so far to say it's better than Scarface. It's not, but it's a good movie. Interesting ending and a decent performance by Sean Penn as well. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it's going to be hard to beat Scarface for me. Scarface is, I think, a classic film that's going to be hard to beat. I mean, Al Pacino's performance alone is hard to beat, but yeah, just never seen it, and I'm just curious to see what you know, what it's all about. And I think it's like 93, so it's like early 90s. So since this Rawhead Rex is silly and fun, okay, all right. And it's only 89 minutes. I can take a movie that's a little silly and you know, a little over the top if it's short, but so I'm down. I actually just watched The Stuff from '85. The Stuff with the dude from Pale Rider, Michael Moriarty. That's what I knew him from, is Pale Rider. But I just watched that over the weekend for the first time. And that's one that's like perfect because it's so silly and so out there, but it's short. Like it's very consumable. So it's totally fine. It doesn't wear out its welcome. Yeah, I don't think it's that David Duke sent. Or if it is, I mean, what a career transition. Since this Cat People is sort of a remake of Val Lewton's film, great Georgia Moroder score and beautiful. Is it Natasha Kinski? Who is she related to Klaus Kinski in any way? I feel like she is. I can't remember what her relation is. Is she married, daughter, sister? What is it? Yeah, that's right. That's right, Larry. I forgot about that too. Lynn Lowry is also in the Cat People, so I looking forward to see that. So this is what, 82 when this came out. So yeah, it was still been pretty prime Lynn Lowry, pretty prime Lynn Lowry. Let me tell you, love me some Lynn. Steven says Rawhead. I dig Rawhead Rex. I don't know if you're a fan of All in the Family, but the David Dukes guy is the man who tried to assault Edith before her 50th anniversary. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah, dude, I love All in the Family. That's one of the only TV shows that I own the entire series of, is All in the Family. So yeah, I didn't know that. That's really cool. Interesting. Okay. Shit, lost my place. I made a cover of the Cat People track. I think I remember listening to that on your channel. If it's on your channel, I'm pretty sure I've listened to it. Okay, so she plays the first prostitute. All right, I'm looking forward to seeing that now. Shit. Possession is a wild one. Yeah, I've heard. See, Possession's another one that I've heard people either hate it or they love it. Like, you guys know how much I love Mark Borchardt from American Movie, and on his radio show, he always mentions Possession as being one of the greatest horror movies ever made. But then I've heard like the guys on Dead Pit, and they're just like it's one of the worst pieces of shit they've ever seen. So, again, piqued my interest, and to find out that Matt was a fan of it even piques my interest more. So, definitely gonna have to watch that sooner rather than later. Brandon says, the other two I picked up were The Northman and The Menu. You know, The Menu is actually one that I was very surprised by how much I enjoyed that movie. Because I just kind of thought, like, I watched it, I was like, it's a fun concept, but I don't know, we'll see where this goes. But I ended up really, really liking that movie. That's a really good one. Didn't expect to like that movie as much as I did. It's saying you'll dig all those films. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like I would, or I wouldn't have purchased them. And they're just good to have in the collection, you know. Yeah, looking forward to it. Blake said, sad that in Scream greats most are dead, even the Fangoria editors David Everett and Uncle Bob Robert Martin. Well, dude, if we start talking about that, that's going to be a real bummer way of an end the stream tonight. We're 2 hours and 45 minutes in, and if we start thinking about all the people that are no longer with us, no, we can't do that. Can't do that, man. Can't do that. We got to keep rolling. Got to keep rolling. Let's talk about murder and chaos and dead people coming back to life. Just says Maniac Cop is actually a crazy movie. Both movies. Okay. Since this Maniac is a movie you can smell like zombie. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, dude, the scene where Spinell's on top of the prostitute at the beginning of the movie and choking her, and you just see the sweat. You can smell his breath almost, like just his mouth. I don't know, something about it. You can smell Spinell. You can smell Spinell, baby. Coincidence Control. What's going on, man? It says, hey, Alpha Romero, Maniac is one of the greatest shotgun blast scenes. Yeah, that's for damn sure. And it's funny because, Savini originally did that effect in Dawn of the Dead with, the shotgun blast in the apartment complex. And then it was like in Maniac, he was just like, oh, fuck it, let's put the whole thing on film. Whereas, the actual shotgun was off screen in Dawn. In Maniac, he was just like, fuck it, let's film it all, baby. Let's actually shoot somebody in the head with a shotgun. And yeah, what a great scene. Slow motion, it's great. Love it. Brandon says, always look that feel of a movie where you just get other subconsciousness senses. Yeah. I mean, like I've said before, like a lot of Fulci stuff. It's like it's gore. You can smell like zombies. A perfect example. You can smell those zombies. Yeah. What other ones are like that where you can just kind of Cannibal Holocaust is kind of like that. But not because of like any of the like violence or the gore in that film, but just like when they're walking through the jungle and the flies, like the scene where the dude's opening the bottle on the boat and he's being attacked by flies and he just keeps smacking the flies. It's like for some reason I can feel that scene. It makes me feel like something's crawling on me all the time. So I'm always like just scratching. I don't know, but it definitely it affects the senses somehow. Coincidence Control says people don't like Cholo in Land of the Dead. A lot of people don't. Yeah, a lot of people don't care for Cholo. That I've heard. I never had a problem with him in Land of the Dead. I always thought he was kind of, I don't know, kind of just entertaining in Land of the Dead, if nothing else. But yeah, I just know a lot of people that just don't like John Leguizamo, period, in anything. Yeah, that's it, Sam. Fast Eddie Felson. That's it. Chin says, speaking of 80s, ever seen Killer Clowns and Critters 1 and 2? As a matter of fact, my 4-year-old daughter introduced me to Critters 1. We haven't seen 2 yet, but she saw Critters on Amazon Prime one day, and she said, I gotta watch that. So I watched it with her, and I was like, this is actually kind of funny. But yeah, Killer Clowns is another one that I never really saw until here recently, and then my daughter discovered it, and now she's a Killer Clowns fanatic. Like she'll go around singing, Killer Clowns, Killer Clowns. She'll just, I tried to record her in the shower the other day. There's a 4-year-old in there singing Killer Clowns. I just made her a playlist too on Spotify, and she's listening to a lot of the music from a lot of the Chucky movies, Rob Zombie, Blondie, of course. That's on a constant repeat now anytime we're driving somewhere. But yeah, my daughter's a huge Killer Clowns fan. Actually, I just showed her Halloween, the original Halloween here recently, and she dug it. And she's wanted to watch it like multiple times since then, believe it or not. And she's been getting into Ghostbusters here lately too, which is a good one. That's a good one. Tried to show her Ghostbusters 2 last night, and she was just kind of like, I want to watch the first one. I'm like, all right. So we ended up just watching Ghostbusters 1 again. But yeah, Killer Clowns is fun. That's just a fun fucking movie. Still need to see Critters 2 though. Brent says The Evil Dead is another film that just has a certain dirtiness to it. Feels raw. Doesn't have the same vibe once it left VHS. But was a film that you could sense the grunge. Yeah. I think it's just because Sam would torture poor Bruce Campbell with the blood, literally the pipe, bursting blood all over Bruce Campbell, yeah, it does feel like they never left that cabin. Like they just were out there filming for months and never showered or anything. Yeah, totally agree with that. Never seen Dog Soldiers, actually. That's one I always remember when it came out. I always remember hearing people talk about like, oh wow, this is one of the best horror films made in years. But I've never actually seen it because that was like what, early 2000s, 2001, I think, when that came out. Larry says I do enjoy the longer version of Nightbreed. It's got a lot to it and benefits from more. It's a story of a big world that needs the expansion. Okay. And Cronenberg is great in Nightbreed. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because I just don't associate Cronenberg as an actor very much, Since his Carlitos is no Scarface killer. Scarface is one of my favorites in every way, and another amazing score by Moroder. Yep. See, Scarface is just like the epitome of like an 80s crime film to me. To the point where that's pretty much what they base, Grand Theft Auto Vice City off of is fucking Scarface. It's like the perfect portrayal of the 80s. Brandon says someone saw someone claim they edited down In a Violent Nature and cut off like 20 plus minutes for better pacing. The problem is those films overstay their welcome with the gimmick, but neat ideas. I completely agree with that. That's pretty much my feelings on it too. It's like, it's awesome if it was like a short film, like a 30-minute short. Like it would be perfect, even for Skinamarink. Something like Skinamarink. I'm like, okay, that was different. And I think Skinamarink originally that concept was a short film. Then they just kind of stretch it out for feature length so they can play it in theaters. But like I said, I think if it was in the hands of a more capable filmmaker, those ideas could be expanded upon, and then by the end of it, it kind of fully fleshes everything out, whereas it just kind of, I don't know, peters off and just kind of, like you said, overstays its welcome a little bit. Coincidence, that's hard for me to say, especially, 2 beers in at midnight on a Sunday. Coincidence control. Al Pacino is also amazing in Carlito's Way. Scarface and Carlito's Way are on the same level. Okay, so there you go. Okay, daughter of Klaus Kinski. Okay, that's it. Okay, very cool. Thanks for clearing that up, Synth. See, this is what I've heard from some people. Possession is a legitimate masterpiece. That's what I've heard. Like I said, Mark Borchardt has put that movie over dozens of times on his radio show. But then I've heard people like the guys on Dead Pit where they're just like, that was one of the worst movies I've ever had to sit through. So I think it just depends on taste, and I'm just kind of curious on where I fall on that spectrum, I guess. Yeah. Tony Todd, and then I came driving and found out he was dead. Yeah, and speaking of Tony Todd, I mean, his last performance in that new Final Destination film, apparently that film's been kicking ass in the box office this weekend, so that's really cool to know that Tony Todd's last film is kicking ass at the box office. I think it had the biggest opening day box office of any of the Final Destination films. So that's pretty cool. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if it's any good or not. I've actually heard some people that it's actually not too bad. Of course, we'll all, giggle about the fucking Bloodlines thing for every sequel ever, but yeah, I thought that was pretty cool when I saw that. I'm glad that Tony's last role is, is the #1 box office success. So I think that's pretty cool. Chin says that Killer Clown soundtrack by the Dickies is so great. Yeah. I love the guitar solo. It's great. Since I have way more respect for Isabella Adjani, from Possession, that's right. After her over-the-top continuous scenes in Possession. Okay, yeah, I'm going to have to check it out. That's definitely on the list. Yeah, you mentioned that before, Synth. I'd love to, because apparently he was the guy in the fucking the invisible car or whatnot. Killer Clown's almost a shot-for-shot remake of The Blob, one of my favorite movies. Yeah, I thought that too, because I just recently watched the '80s version of The Blob for the first time, and I was kind of thinking that I was like, oh yeah, this is very Killer Clowns vibe to it, very very close. Robert says I watched Night 90, found out he died the same night. Yeah, still, I don't know. Would you guys? It's between that and Candyman, probably for his most famous performances, I guess. And he done a lot, but I think in terms of just as a star leading role, Night 90 and Candyman, I would say. It says if she likes Ghostbusters, I have a video of my Ghostbusters collection on my channel. Oh yeah, she would love that. I took her shopping today. We go to there's a really amazing toy store here in Evansville called Evansville Toys and Games, and they have so much cool shit. I mean, the guy that owns the place, like, I don't know where he finds this stuff. Wrestling stuff, horror stuff, comics, Blu-rays, Funko Pops, anything that you're interested in. It's amazing. So I'll take her in there and I'll, let her look, and every now and then she'll pick out something she likes. So today she found the Bride of Chucky action figure collection with, Tiffany and Chucky, and she had to have it. So we made a deal and made, she had to clean her room and stuff like that. But they have a whole section there, is what I'm getting at. They have a whole section at that store of just Ghostbuster stuff. So we sat there and looked at all that old toys, new toys, like classics from the 80s. And we looked at it all. And she was, is pretty cool. It's amazing what the prices of some of that stuff goes for now, like the classic action figures and stuff that were probably like what $3 or $4 back in the day, are now like $60-$70. It's crazy. Bonnie says I really like Dog Soldiers. Okay, yeah. Again, that's one I remember when it came out, and it was like always talked about. It's just another one I've never gotten around to. Okay, Robert's not a fan of gangster movies. No worries. Gangsta. Since the Scarface game based on the GTA engine was so much fun, scenes recreated and the voice actor was perfect. I don't know if I ever played the Scarface game, actually. I played the shit out of GTA. Coincidence Control says I'm a big fan of Dog Soldiers and The Descent. Oh yeah, it was by the same filmmaker. I do like The Descent. Neil Marshall, is that the name of the guy, the director? I remember seeing The Descent in theaters, and that was an uncomfortable fucking experience, because the claustrophobia of it was just hard to take. They didn't even need the little monsters or whatever. Just give me a movie about people being stuck in little holes for fucking 2 hours, and I don't know if I could handle it. Oh yeah, that's right. It sucks that Neil Marshall's fallen off so hard since. What else has he done lately? I don't even know what he's done here recently. It's been so bad, apparently. Steven says a friend of mine highly recommended Dog Soldiers. He was correct. All right. Again, another one on the list I need to catch up on. Get some good recommendations from you guys tonight. Yeah, that's right. Klingon, Star Trek, Tony Todd. Blob 88, so damn good. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. Watched it at least once a year. Yeah, this is my first time watching it. I just got the Blu-ray of it. It's a weird import Blu-ray. I don't even remember where the hell it was from. But yeah, it was the first time watching it. I was like, yeah, it's really, really well made. And it was interesting. I was always kind of curious, because I kind of was watching it in the back of my mind, remembering the period in time when Rob Zombie was rumored to be slated to direct the new version, the remake of the remake or whatever, in the mid to late 2000s. And I could kind of see how Rob could kind of pull that off and make it work in his style. Just kind of the small town kind of vibe to it, Yeah, it's really, I enjoyed it. It's a good movie. Okay, I got what you're saying, Robert. You kind of had the feeling you should watch it, and then you heard he died. It's weird. It's kind of my experience when I watched The Booby Hatch and found out that Dave Emge died. It was like the same thing. I just had, for some reason, that night, that Sunday night, I was just kind of nothing else to do, and I had Booby Hatch on DVD, and I'd never seen it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch it because David Emge's in it, and I want to see David Emge pre-Dawn of the Dead. Like, I hadn't seen it yet, and I watched it, saw the scene, got a good laugh out of it. Then I paused it to look at my phone for whatever reason, just to check shit. And then I got on Facebook and find out David Emge had passed away, and then to find out that he was, right down the road from me the entire time was just like, it was just like, I get exactly what you're saying, man. It's a very weird coincidence when shit like that happens. Since Candyman legit freaked me out when I first saw the movie. Had that Hellraiser vibe. Yeah, it's a Clive Barker, man. Clive Barker. There's the fellas. Just talking about you guys earlier. Killer Clowns is one of my all-time faves, says Revival House. Crazy, it's also going to put through the... Yeah, I've seen that too. Who's... who was in charge of it? Who was attached to it? I can't remember the goddamn actor's name. Ryan Reynolds, I think, maybe? Ryan Reynolds or one of the other stone-faced guys that's in everything now. Aaron, okay. So you're in charge of the Revival. Okay, very cool. Well, good to see you, man. Yeah, again, I mentioned it earlier, talked about it earlier, but thanks again for having me on the other night. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys and talking some Martin, some Romero, and some Metallica, and I'd like to get you guys on this channel sometime soon. So, but yeah, very, very cool. Thanks for stopping in. Chin says, Blob 1988 also scared the crap out of me with the sink scene. I was afraid of sinks after that dude got pulled into the sink. I was only about 7 years old when that movie came out and it stuck with me. I had the similar reaction when I was younger to It. The scene in It when he comes up through the drain in the bathtub. I remember my parents were, still to this day, will talk about, yeah, you didn't want to take a bath. Like, we had to fight you to take a bath after you saw that. Because, I mean, I was like, what? So it was like 1990, and I probably saw it right around its original run on TV. So, I mean, I was 3, 4 years old, probably my daughter's age. And I'm telling you, my daughter is so much more, like, of a badass and is way tougher than I was. Like, no, she ain't scared of shit. Like, there's so many things that we'll watch that I just kind of like, I want to shield her from it. I want to close her. Like, we watched Trick or Treat, the anthology from the mid 2000s. Around Halloween time, we watched that, and I'd only seen it once, some years back. But it was Halloween time, and she saw Sam, and she was like, "Oh, I want to watch that." I'm like, "All right." And there's some shit in that movie that's pretty fucking rough. But she was just like, "All right, yeah." She's like, "Oh, it's funny. It's Halloween. Like, they're playing dress up. It's make believe." Like, she kind of gets it, and she's never like woken up with nightmares. She's never. Me, like, I would be scared shitless about most things when I was younger, and look how I turned out. So, so I don't know what to expect with her, but she's just like, yeah, she gets it. She's just like, oh, it's just Halloween. I don't know. Aaron says The Descent came out in a time when we really needed it. That was a remake. Yeah, that was a remake Apocalypse. Yeah, that was like everything was being remade at that time. So it was great to see something get something original. I agree with that. Bonnie says, damn, yeah, The Descent is not good when you're claustrophobic as I am. I'm not even that claustrophobic, really. But like that movie, it's one of those movies where you start breathing heavy when you're watching it and you don't even realize you're doing it. You just start taking deep breaths and you're like, oh, why did I do that? Just because it's, again, like we were talking about earlier, the sense aspect of it, like it heightens your senses in some way. It's like being able to smell the gore in Fulci's Zombie, or to smell Spinell's breath in Maniac. It's like you can feel the claustrophobia in that film. I think it's brilliant. Right back at you, man. Right back at you, Justin. Chin says, same Killer Clowns along with Dawn of the Dead are up on my favorite movies list. I'd put Dawn #1, Clowns 2. Oh, that's high praise for Killer Clowns. I'm with it, though. I'm down. Yeah, that's another kind of as the henchman in The Crow '94, which I love The Crow in general. I just grew up on that. Um, since says, hey there, when will you guys repost the Martin show? Oh, talking to Revival. Let's see what he says. Chintz and Killer Clowns are great. Entryway into horror for kids too, something that adults and young ones can equally enjoy. Fully agree. Ryan Gosling, there you go. The Gauze. That's the guy I'm thinking of. Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Gosling, all the same. I do kind of like Ryan Gosling though. I like a lot of his stuff. He's been in some pretty good movies. I'll give him that. So he's a little he's above fucking Ryan Reynolds who I can't. That's the guy that everything he's in, he's the same goddamn face. Huh? Yeah, never got him. But I like the guys. You know what's up. You know what's up. Coincidence Control says, I was looking forward to seeing Rob Zombie. Would have done with the Blob as well. I also wanted to see him do the Broad Street. That's the one that I always was more interested in. Like the Blob, the remake, like I said, I'd never seen the Blob, so I thought that was kind of weird for Rob Zombie to do. But the Broad Street Bullies movie, I thought would be an opportunity for Rob Zombie to kind of step away from the horror genre, try something different. And I think a movie about the Broad Street Bullies, and the Philadelphia Flyers from that time period, and you know, kind of the lore of that team, I thought it would be so fucking interesting. But unfortunately, never happened. So, hey, good night, Brandon. Thanks for stopping in, man. Always good to hear from you. I look forward to seeing you here in a couple weeks. Get ready. And I think it's about time for me to call it tonight. We're over 3 hours into this sucker tonight. You guys have been fucking awesome tonight. I appreciate all of you for coming and hanging out with me, keeping me company on a Sunday night, and sending me off into a long work week, or a long work week on a high, getting all my Romero juices out. Let me see here. Let me see if there's any comments here I can hit real quick before we head out. That's right, Sin. Zombie shopping. Zombie shopping. Gotta love those zombie shopping. Chin says, yeah, it had some crazy scenes. Some movie scenes just stick with certain people. I go, yeah, I don't know. It fucked me up when I was a kid. Brandon says, a friend just sent me a message that Game Rant just did an article on my documentary. Interesting. They said they called it the most unique video game movie of the year. Okay. That's pretty good praise. I think unique anything is always good praise. Because the last thing anybody wants to fucking see is the same old shit. So, I'll take it. If somebody wants to say I have the most unique channel on YouTube, they could say it's complete dog shit, but it's unique. I'll take it. I'll take it. At least it's something different. That's all I can ask for. But good shit. All right. It definitely is. I mean, it definitely is a different type of documentary for sure. That's the dude who ruined Amityville. Okay. Fucking Ryan Reynolds. Gauze is British slang for phlegm/spit. Well, same difference. Same difference, Aaron says. All right. All right, Robert says he's still drinking. Let's go for another 2 hours. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll keep going until I'm out. I got another couple of drinks in here. I got maybe 1 or 2 drinks left in me. But I do have to get up and go to work in the morning, and it's already past midnight. And I'll be back on Wednesday, guys. I'll be back on Wednesday for Land of the Dead watch along, Wednesday night watch along. Starting the road to Living Dead weekend, getting hyped, getting pumped, and it's been a little bit since I've actually sat and watched Land of the Dead, so I'm looking forward to kind of revisiting it and kind of giving my live thoughts here on the channel. So come back Wednesday. We'll be here. We'll talk some Land. Good or bad. Good or bad. That's a good point, Brandon. Can the ruination of Amityville be singled down to one person? That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. There's so many Amityvilles now. It's not. I don't even know if it's like. I think it's just like public domain at this point. You can just call anything Amityville. Yeah, there you go. Amityville dildo. That's a thing. Pretty sure it's out there. Amityville Karen. Yeah, that's an actual thing. Thanks, Steven. Good night. Always a pleasure seeing you, my man. Rick, thanks for coming in. I guess everybody's telling me to get the fuck out of here. It's over 3 hours, so we'll go ahead and wrap this sucker up. Synth, good fun. Thanks. Enjoy the panel van adventures. Absolutely. And yeah, hit me up. I'll definitely get you on for the again, for those still watching that missed it at the beginning. Land of the Dead commentary this Wednesday, but the following next weekend, next Saturday, Living Dead Weekend, Road to Living Dead Weekend, Romero Fan Roundtable number 3. If you're interested, if you're going to the event, you want to come on, and you want to talk about what your plans are, what you're expecting, what you're excited for, what you're looking forward to, what you're attending, whatever you want to talk about, Living Dead Weekend, shoot me a message, shoot me an email. If you're friends with me on Facebook, shoot me a message on Facebook. Open forum. It's open for anybody. So hit me up. Let me know. That's next Saturday. And then the following Saturday, we'll be doing the Day of the Dead live fan commentary. So if you want to join in on that, shoot me a message. Let me know. So we'll watch that to get ready for Living Dead Weekend. And then, of course, June 1st, the following Sunday, the very next day, back-to-back days. You guys are going to get so fucking sick of me over the next few weeks, but it's okay. We'll get through it. But the official Living Dead Weekend preview show returns with our special guests, Lawrence DeVincent and Daz Sargent. Looking forward to that one. That one's going to be a lot of fun. Anything and everything you guys want to know about Living Dead Weekend, that's the stream to watch. So yeah, you guys get ready. Get ready to see a whole fucking lot of me the next couple of weeks. Cheers. Coincidence Control. Good to see you, as always. Bonnie, always a pleasure. Always glad to have you with us. Ed, keep it going, man. Good night, gang. Until next time. You're right. You're right, Justin. It's the stash. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, you never seen one of these before? It's a comb. Love you too, Robert. Have a good night. Don't drink too much. You're gonna feel like shit in the morning. Nathan, good to see you too, my man. Hey, people want to arm wrestle me? Well, I only arm wrestle when I'm drunk, so I get superhuman strength sometimes. Jen says, I'll be here Wednesday. Watch it again for your commentary to catch up. Well, I'll see you there, my man. Might rewatch Land of the Dead. Okay, very cool. Yeah, I'll be watching it on a Wednesday, so come join me. We'll all watch it together, and we'll talk about all the goings on and the happenings. So, Larry, always a pleasure, man. Looking forward to talking to you and seeing you soon. So, says good night, everyone. Chin says good night. Matt's still hanging out in here. I haven't heard from him in a little bit. He must be creeping in the back. Good night, man. I'll see you soon. Like I said, open door. Any stream coming up, you're more than welcome. So, and Rick is loading up the chopper and flying the fuck out of here into the sunrise. We got this by the ass. Yes, we do. And everybody check out shop.alpharomero.store. Got some pretty cool shit up there. Some different designs. Actually just got to order stuff in to check some quality control, and just because I thought it was cool design, which is pretty much how I design most of the shit for that store anyways, just shit that I would wear, like stuff that I want to wear. And it's pretty cool stuff. So check it out, shop.alpharomero.store. Yeah, like the video, gives it the big thumbs up, right up the booty hole. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, if you're watching for the first time, and you're a big Romero fan or just a big fan of mustaches or whatever. And notifications bell, that's a thing, so you never miss a stream, which I don't know how you'll miss me over the next few weeks, but it's possible. It's very possible. But love you guys. Y'all have a great rest of the night, a great rest of the week. Stay prepared, but always stay scared.